like the work of any single individual or any single program. Every one of you here today are a part of that effort. My Brother's Keeper isn't just about a single program. It's as a community, how do we wrap our arms around our community members to make sure that we are our brother's keeper, we are our sister's keeper, and we're doing this together collectively.
You say Black Lives Matter, it really is a part of that dream. Black businesses matter, Black careers matter, Black dreams matter. That's the whole point of My Brother's Keeper.
Again, this is about more than just one program. It's about a cohort of young people. And so today, I really do want you to make the opportunity to reach out to people you haven't met with. But again, thank you so much for all of you joining us here, and thank you so much for our wonderful panelists. Thanks so much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kojo Kanda. I'm the program manager for My Brother's Keeper. I want to welcome you all to the 2021 MBK conference. Give yourselves a round of applause because we're here to do some good work today. To get us started, we're going to have a word from Pastor Mike Young, and then we'll get into the program. Brother Young.
Good morning. God bless you, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to be here. This actually happens to be my 43rd birthday, believe it or not. And, you know, my family woke up this morning, they wanted to do some festivities. I said, but it's only right for me to come and be a part of this. I'm here to celebrate with you all the fact that you're investing in yourselves, right? And what I've learned about destiny, what I've learned about purpose is there's at least 3 things that you have to do as it relates to your destiny. Number one, you have to discover your destiny, right? We live in a world that there are constantly reminders and people who would tell us everything that we're not, right? But you're coming to a conference today, you're surrounded by people who are going to tell you everything that you are. So number one, you have to discover your destiny. The second thing I learned about destiny is you have to develop it. Right? Once you discover what it is that you were created to do and created to be, you have to take time to invest in the development of your gifts, your abilities, your talents, and grow, right? Once you discover it, once you develop it, then the third thing you have to do, and this is the most challenging part, is you got to put your destiny on display. You got to be willing to step out and be everything that God created you to be. And I'm going to open with a word of prayer today, but my prayer is that God will unlock your knowing, your know-how, who it is and what it is that he's created you to be. And once he unlocks that you begin to invest in yourself, that you develop what it is that God has placed inside of you, and then ultimately that you have the courage to put those gifts on display. Let us pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we come boldly before your throne of grace this morning, God, and we give you thanks because this is the day that you have made, and we're going to be glad and we're going to rejoice in it. Father, we thank you, Lord God, for this great conference. We thank you, Lord God, for the coordinators and the leaders who have taken their time, their energy, and their efforts, Lord God, to create a platform, Lord, to unlock the destiny and the purpose in these young men. Now, Father, my prayer and my desire is that you'll send the spirit of wisdom and revelation and knowledge of you, that they may know, God, who it is and what it is you've created them to be. Father, I cancel out every demonic assignment, every plot, plan, and scheme of the enemy, Lord God, that would seek to work against their life is being dismantled and destroyed, because you said in your word that no weapon formed against them shall be able to prosper, and every tongue that would rise against them shall be condemned. Father, we ask for your presence to be with us today. We pray, Father, for just positive energy, Lord God. We pray, Father, that it would be a place, Lord God, of collaboration, Lord God, a place of connecting, Father. And ultimately, Lord God, when it's all said and done, Father, we'll give you glory, we'll give you honor, and we'll give you praise. Father, we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Now I'm pitching it back. Now, can we do a little bit better job than we did the first time? Can we put our hands together for this gentleman right here, Brother Kojo? I know he's put together a phenomenal program for us today along with other individuals, and my challenge to you is partake of all that they're presenting. Amen?
Thanks, brother. Happy birthday. Thank you. Okay, so as we get started, just want to recognize a couple of folks who've done some awesome work to allow us the flexibility to be here. And one will come up here shortly, but want to acknowledge the work of our director, Director Carla Williams Scott, for giving us the latitude to be creative and to find opportunities to connect with young folks. That takes vision, and it takes strength and leadership to be able to do that. So thank you, Director. Thank you to Deputy Director Joy Bivens for supporting our programs that are pouring into young folks. And so we recognize your leadership and your vision as well, because to stand out on the island in these times is tough. The easy way is to say, well, we haven't done this in the past, so let's not try this now. So thank you to both for your leadership. Tell you real quickly a little bit about My Brother's Keeper, and that we're here to address the issues of disparity with young brothers of color, boys and young men of color. And often we think that boys and young men of color are people who are of African descent, but I'm here to tell you that it's anybody from anywhere in the country that identifies as a youth of color. We're here to address these issues of disparity. I talk about issues of disparity that, as an example, almost 10 years ago, there's a school district in Central Ohio that was teaching their students Mandarin, and they had iPads. This is before COVID, when everyone got an individual device. So we think about how do we then compete with these students 10 years later who've already had access to these individual devices, learning foreign languages from a global perspective. We got to come in and present opportunities to close that gap, that opportunity gap. You have to embrace those opportunities, and us older folks have to listen to what you want. And so hopefully we can do that with My Brother's Keeper, with some of the innovative program we're doing, and then we can get some traction here. So at this time here, I'm going to introduce Director Carla Williams Scott. If you would come up, Director, and Deputy Director Joy Bivens to come up and bring greetings to everyone. Let's welcome them, guys.
Good morning, everyone, and a special good morning to all of our young men and the adults that brought them here. Thank you for being with us. And to my friend, Deputy County Administrator Joy Bivens, she has been a partner with us in this work since we started. And so thank you, Joy. I appreciate you and appreciate the commissioners. In 2014, City of Columbus was one of the first communities to accept the challenge from President Obama to be a My Brother's Keeper community. Since that time, we've been working very, very diligently, as Kojo said, to help address the disparity gaps between boys and young men of color. And so this is just another one of those programs that we've done and that we're bringing to you. We want to make sure that our young people are exposed to all of the other opportunities that other young people are exposed to. I'd also like to really give a thank you to my team, Julia Carter, Kojo Kandai, Jack O'Grady, Maisie, and Gail for their creativity and hard work in helping us put all this together. Thank you, OSU, for partnering with us, and I know Pastor Mike had to leave to go celebrate his birthday, but I wanted to thank him for also being here. And also, our mayor couldn't be here with us today, but I also want to thank you. It's Mayor Ginther's hope that all of our young people in the city of Columbus have all of the same opportunities as other young people. And so while he couldn't be here with us this morning, I bring you greetings on behalf of him. And now I will share this mic with my friend Joy.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Okay, I'm going to stand here until I feel like I get the reception that I need. If you are a young person, I need you to stand up right now, please. Please, please, please. Yes, yes, yes. We're going to celebrate you. Yes, if you are a young person, if you consider yourself to be a young person, I need you to stand up right now. I still see people sitting, so I'm going to keep talking until I see and feel the reception, and I feel that this venue needs. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Now that I have your attention, my name is Joy Bivens. I am the Deputy County Administrator of Health and Human Services for Franklin County. What does that mean? That means I oversee all the human service agencies under the Board of Commissioners. So on behalf of Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Erica Crawley, and Commissioner Kevin Boyce, we bring you greetings and we thank you. One of the things I really wanted to make sure before I went through 15 talking points that my communications person gave me, and I'm glad he's not here because he would probably kick me off the stage. The only thing I want to say to you is this: take advantage of every opportunity. What we understand is that you cannot be what you cannot see. And I am tired of living in a world where we have to teach men of color, young men of color, to be safe in their own bodies, but we focus more on that than we say pursuing your dreams. So remember this. Sight is what you see with your eyes open. Vision is what you see when your eyes are closed. And no matter what the circumstances, keep your eyes closed and keep envisioning yourself to be successful and dynamic, because you are. Thank you.
Oh, you'll come back. No, we'll come back. So one of the things that Deputy Director Bivens talked about was seeing the vision. I use the term of hope and opportunity. We've got to be able to create hope for young folks, but then give them a path for opportunity to get to that hope, that vision. So hope and opportunity. I want to bring up Dr. Cynthia Turner, the Assistant Dean for the College of Business at Ohio State, Fisher College of Business. She will introduce our next speaker. Dr. Turner.
Good morning. Now, I'm not a Joy, but I'm just say it again. Good morning. Now, you're on this campus, so I'm gonna have to, if you should know this, and if not, we're gonna help you out. All of my Buckeyes in here. OH! Oh, yeah. Y'all know that. Good morning. It is my pleasure and my honor to actually introduce our next speaker. He is my colleague. He is my friend, and he's my boss, y'all. So what we have coming before you in just a minute is Dean Anil Makija. He is the Dean of the Ohio State University Fisher College of Business and holder of the John W. Barry Senior Chair in Business. He is the 9th Dean in Fisher's 100-year-plus history, a recognized expert in the field of finance, and has more than 20 years of experience in academic leadership roles. What I am most excited about my boss is that in addition to his incredible and able leadership, he is an advocate for the things that we are doing here today. He supports me. I am the assistant dean, but I'm also the chief diversity officer. Fisher College is a 9,100 student member body. That's the size, and it is actually greater size than many of the universities across the country. And so under his able leadership, he has allowed me to not only see things, but envision things and execute them. Just this weekend, we held our inaugural Alumni of Color Network Weekend, first ever at the Fisher College of Business. And it was because of the advocacy of my dean. We had nearly 200 African American, Hispanics, Latinx American, and APITA, Asian Pacific Islander Desi Americans, convened last night in a moment that we've never experienced before, and it was magical. There were individuals who were emotionally moved by the fact that we have now provided a community within a community where they saw themselves and saw alum who are doing amazing things that look like them. And so it is only befitting. You have some students and alum who will be here today to meet and greet you, but I want you all to know that I could not have done that without my friend, Dean Anil Makija, and I'm asking him to come to the stage now. Dean Makija.
Important things first. OH? A little louder. OH? Very good, very good. That too. Yeah. I want to begin by first thanking my colleague, Cynthia Turner. I think she has lots of virtues, but she does have a few drawbacks. One drawback is she's too generous in her praise of her boss. She should get not only the lion's share of the credit of what's done, it is her vision and the execution that matters quite a lot. So I bring you greetings from the College of Business at The Ohio State University. And in the next few minutes, I'll say a few things. But if I were to summarize both of those, they would be in the following two things. One, Fisher College of Business is full of opportunities for our diverse brotherhood. That's one. Second, to achieve that, we need a level of collaboration, and this is a time and moment to recognize that collaboration, which is, of course, in great part, with my brother's keeper. It's with the City of Columbus, and you can see other partners up here. So let me describe these two main ideas that I want to share with you. You see, Fisher has always been committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, but what I want to add is that with the addition of my colleague, Cynthia Turner, and others in the college, we have decided to double down on it. It's not as if we were not doing good things before, we certainly were, and we made a lot of progress. So for example, we had mentoring, we had the famous Key Bank competition, we had multiple other programs that I could describe to you, but we've decided to double down. So what I'm come to tell you here is there are wonderful opportunities at Fisher, and that Fisher should be in your sights for your future. So what are those added opportunities? And I'll only give you examples. For example, before you get to Fisher, we are already interested in working with you, and that's the collaboration component that I'll come back to in a moment. So we've added a pre-collegiate coordinator to work with people who are still not at Fisher in how they should get ready for Fisher. And of course, to make it possible for them to come to Fisher, we have added scholarships. Added, I said, because we had scholarships before too. So you see, we are already thinking of you before you get to Fisher and how to facilitate that move to Fisher. And once you get to Fisher, well, we've done many things, added things in that domain as well. So Cynthia mentioned to you that she is our Chief Diversity Officer. But you know, she deserves another round of applause because she's the first Chief Diversity Officer at Fisher. And with her, of course, are other colleagues, David Harrison, whose steady hands have guided our diversity efforts for decades. We have other staff, like Tuella, who has been working in this domain. So we've added to that. We have also added staff to help the programming, to help the mentoring once you are at Fisher. And we don't want to forget you once you have graduated from Fisher. So for example, we participate in a growing fashion with a program with Ascend, which is a number of universities across the country, along with JP Morgan Chase, that present programs to minority owners of businesses. So you see, and also we are developing a yellow belt certificate for job skills for Columbus residents so that they can be successful in their careers and professions as well. So I wanted to give you an idea of the opportunities offered at Fisher and why you should think about it and how and why we want to work with you to get you there. But in order for all of these things to happen, I want to remind us of the second idea that I said I would emphasize, and that is collaboration. You see, if you want to do great research, you want a great co-author. Because no matter how well you can think about things, you want someone else to debate with you, to discuss with you, to disagree with you, to agree with you. And that's how great research happens. What about great programs? Academic programs. Well, Fisher can do many programs by themselves, but recently we rolled out programs in FinTech, but those programs require the collaboration, not just of the College of Business, but also the engineering college, the arts and sciences and so forth, because you get all these other perspectives that you cannot deliver by yourself. So today, and I seek your applause, your indulgence, I'm so happy to announce that this is the time of great collaboration where with my brother's keeper, we are going to participate in creating programs for students who are in high school. Maybe they're in 8th grade through high school, and we'll work on them so that they, because of this collaboration, will get that added leverage synergy to in fact become the best students of tomorrow. Join me in celebrating that collaboration. And to demonstrate all of the things that I have mentioned today, joining us throughout this program will be alumni of the Fisher College of Business. As Cynthia pointed out, we've been celebrating this inaugural Alumni of Color Network weekend. 200 of them have been here. And what have they demonstrated? That in joining Fisher, in joining these programs, you are joining a very powerful network. You get the power of professionals. You will see among them the great successes they have had in their careers. And those successes are possible and available to you. So you'll see the power of professionals. You will also see the bonding of the family of Buckeyes. Talk to them, and they will tell you how forever they have joined a network of Buckeyes. And finally, something that they are doing that someday you too will do, and that is lifting others as they climb themselves. And that, of course, is the ultimate message I want to leave you, that we are all better when we have made our brothers and sisters better. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Makija. hope and opportunity. He just touched on that, working with folks as young as in the 8th grade to prepare them for post-secondary life. Thank you. I'm going to call back now Director and Deputy County Administrator to get some recognition, because we got some folks who've done some awesome work, and we want to recognize them for it. That means we're giving awards away. That's what it means, award time. Yes. And then just small housekeeping, as they call you up, the awardees will come up all together.
Thank you, Kojo. These awards, what we want to do today is recognize 4 organizations that have been with us for the last 3 years and have worked very hard to ensure that the young men in their presence, not only it was not a one-time opportunity, but that we continue to work with them, help them, and watch them grow. And so we will start with our first recognition with Community, Refugee, and Immigration Services. Chris, who's our representative here? I feel like I should say, and accepting the award for Chris is Jeremy Holland. Our second partner is our team from the Columbus Urban League. And next, I'd like to invite up our team from Legacy U. Thank you. And last but not least, I'd like to invite to the stage the team from the African American Male Wellness Walk Men of Standard. And when I tell you, these organizations have been with us for the last 3 years and have supported all of our work and ensured that everything that we did, that their young men had the opportunity to participate as well. So if we could give them a round of applause.
So before we move on, I want to, first of all, again, thank Director Carla Williams-Scott. You know, from a funder's perspective, it's easy just to say, hey, whatever you need, but this woman every day wakes up thinking about MBK every day and everything that she does in every neighborhood. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. The other thing, I would be remiss if I did not mention this, is I talked about vision before, and I want to share just really quick. There was a young man in 2nd grade who told his teacher he wanted to be an attorney. She told him it never happened, and she laughed at him. That young man happens to be my husband, who is the first elected African-American city attorney in the state of Ohio, Mr. Michael Bivens, who is here. So I want to let you know, when you dream big, you do big things, as well as my daughter, Makija Bivens, who is a graduate of Hampton University. So thank you all.
Okay, so I'm not going to give a long introduction because the brother just said, tell me this, and he got it. So I'm going to give this, you already know, don't you? This, and he got it. I'm going to bring up John Murray. He's a social media commentator, comedian, and entertainer. 3 things. I failed? It was quick. I had the whole thing written out. John Mary is going to take us from this point on, guys. John Mary, John Mary, John Mary, John Mary. You got to hit him with it.
Test, test. Good morning, everybody. I'm not going to do you like Joy and make you stand up unless you talk back to me. Good morning, everybody. I'm John Murray, and I'm a TV host and commentator. No, you called me a comedian, and I ain't never opened up for Chris Rock, so that doesn't work for me. How y'all feeling this morning? It's great to be here at Ohio State for MBK. This is a great conference. Can y'all give the conference a hand? Also want to show some love to Dr. Cynthia Turner and Dr. Anil and to everybody who had a hand in pulling this together. It's great to inspire the next generation on their path. And I love the story that Joy Bivens told. First of all, I didn't know there were two Michael Bivens in the world. The only Michael Bivens I know is a New Edition and BBD. Just you? You probably got more money than the one that performs, though, because you're a lawyer. I guess maybe I do play a comic sometimes, Kojo. But no, there's so many people like you. I remember being in high school, and they told me I talk too much. And I had a counselor who, my school had a thing called a gifted and talented program. And I kept having this counselor that kept discouraging me from being in the program and kept telling me that I talk too much. And now, you know, I got my mama's house by talking too much. So find your passion, find your purpose, and it can put you on the pathway to success. Enough about me and my silly rantings. Shout out to DJ IQ. You got us feeling good this morning, too. I get to have a conversation with a living legend today. Somebody who is groundbreaking, who's made great strides in this business and created content that is the perfect escapism. Sometimes the world gets a little crazy and you need to go home on a Saturday night and get you some Chinese food and watch a good movie. And he's got a catalog of films and television shows that entertain us all the time. We're going to watch a good video and then we're going to get into this conversation with the legend himself, Mr. Robert Townsend.
Jasper, don't you want freedom? We going to promised land. The promised land. Promised land? Cleveland? No, Jasper. Baltimore? No, Jasper, the promised land. Oh, the promised land. Minnesota? And cut.
Hi, my name is Robert Taylor, and I'm a black actor.
Now you see why he's a legend, huh? Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Robert Townsend.
Hello.
Good morning, good morning.
Now, I guess if they would have shown like all your works in that package, we could have probably been here all day. But there's a movie that is one of my favorites. I mean, you've done so many, but this one is like, it's become like this cult classic that I really kind of want them to revamp into one of those like Real Husbands of Hollywood type of series, which is Jackie's Back.
Oh my goodness.
I am a huge fan of Jackie's Back. Tell me about working on that particular project, because Jennifer Lewis is one of those artists that she was a mainstay for a long time, and now as a woman of a particular age is coming into this new heightened visibility, and it's creating this resurgence awareness of that project and having so many people revisit it.
Jennifer Lewis, she plays the mother on Blackish, the grandmother on Blackish. And Jennifer came to me with that project, and basically, she is a funny comedian. She's a genius, and it is her journey. She called on all of her friends to be a part of it. So you had Bette Midler, you had Liza Minnelli in that film, and it's just really funny. But for me as an artist, I've created all kind of stuff. So you know, musicals, dramas, comedy. So I just love it. But I had a wonderful time working with her on that.
Mr. Michael Bivens, not to be confused with the one in BBD, the attorney here, his wife Joy talked about, when he was starting out, they told him he couldn't become an attorney. And now he's a very successful attorney. When you broke into Hollywood, clearly there were obstacles and limitations as a black man, as a creative, trying to cut through. And as we inspire this new generation, these young kids here who are looking at their own purpose and their own pursuits, share a little bit about you getting to Hollywood and having to find your own path and overcoming the obstacles to break through what the industry had in place.
Well, you know, before we get to Hollywood, because these are a lot of, as I look across the room, all these young men that are, young men and young women that are about to start their journey in life, the main thing I want to say is it's about the hand you've been dealt. We are all dealt a hand in life, and that hand is the hand that you must learn how to play. So you see all these movies and you see all these television shows and you say, man, this brother has been doing it and he's been creating and he's been doing his thing. But the real story started on the west side of Chicago, in a real rough neighborhood. There were gangs on every corner, the Disciples, the Executioners, the Sinister Six, the Vice Lords. My father wasn't there. My mother raised 4 kids on her own. We lived in a rough neighborhood. So when I got out of school, my mother would always say, when you get out of school, run straight in the house, because she was afraid that I was going to get recruited by one of those gangs. And so she was like, run straight in the house. When I got in the house, all I did was watch television. I watched so much TV, they nicknamed me TV Guide. And they were like, TV Guide, what's on tonight? And I was like, ABC, they got a pretty good lineup. I Love Lucy, the Family Matters, da-da-da-da. And then I discovered that God had given me a gift. If I saw a show on television, I could do the voice that I saw on the show. So back then, for all of you youngsters, television used to go off. If you missed a show, you missed a show. You would never see it again. There were no reruns. There was nothing. It would go off. And we were on welfare. So my mother was trying to find a job. And so when she would come home from looking for work, she would go like, what happened on Alfred Hitchcock? And I'd be like, Mama, he said, they found the body in the alleyway and discovered. And I learned that I could do voices and characters. Like I said, Mama, there's a movie called The Wizard of Oz. And the Scarecrow said, I'd have never gotten my brains if it wasn't for you. And I learned that I could do all these characters and voices. Like there was a TV show called Lassie, and it was about this boy Timmy and this dog Lassie. And we didn't have a dog, and I was the dog. I'd pretend to be, I would do all kind of voices and sounds. I got discovered in 5th grade, because I want to say something today before we even get into this. To all of you gentlemen out there today, let me say this. This is what we call a divine appointment. A divine appointment. All these educators and all of these people have come together for you. You are so blessed in this moment. You go like, well, why me? Why did I get chosen? Why am I here in this room? Why am I on this campus? Robert, I got a hand to play. There's so many negative things coming against me. You don't understand the hood. You don't understand my mama, my daddy, my cousin, my sister. You don't understand who believes in me, who doesn't believe in me. Today, you've been given an opportunity. This is that moment. There's always that moment where you go like, who am I going to be? All these people have come up here and given you their story, but some of you are half asleep because they kept going, stand up, stand up, stand up. Because in this moment, in this wonderful, amazing moment, you could be born. You could be born. And what I mean by born is that we walk by faith and not by sight. It is not the reality that you see. Yes, I could see the hood. I could see the gangs over there. I could see the food stamps going to the store. I could see all of that. But then I had a vision. I saw something bigger. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Hollywood and make my own movies. There were so many haters that came into my life to go like, how you going to make it in the hood, man? How you going to make it out of here, man? We on welfare. You on welfare. You ain't nobody. You ain't nobody. So when I think about my journey, it was a moment like this that I was born. So I'm going to tell you about the teacher that changed my life. There was a teacher, one teacher that changed my life. So I'm in 5th grade. And when you see the movie Meteor Man, I named the character Jefferson Reed after this one teacher. So I'm in the 5th grade, and this white teacher wanted us to learn about Shakespeare. I didn't know nothing about Shakespeare. He wanted us to read 3 pages of Shakespeare. And I was reading, and it was like, methinks thou, though, thus. So I'm a kid in the hood, and I wanted to get an A because I wanted to make my mother proud because she was doing everything to get us off of welfare. So I'm a kid in the hood, so I do what a kid in the hood would do. I go to the library, and I steal all the Shakespeare records. I steal the Shakespeare records, and I listen to them on our little stereo at home. King Lear, Richard III, Macbeth. I listen to it, and I kind of understand it. I kind of understand it. So here's where the flip happens. The teacher says, today we're going to read a scene from Oedipus Rex. Ophelia, you'll be, Deborah, you'll be Ophelia. Robert Townsend, you'll be Tiresias, the blind prophet. And Willie, you'll be Oedipus. And so the kids read like kids would read in the hood. Oedipus, Oedipus, you will marry that mother and killeth thy father, thusly Oedipus. Now, I had been listening to the Royal Shakespeare Company. So I read it like this. Oedipus, I pray not to rage upon thy soul. The whole class was like, woo! His ass is crazy. But the teacher, after class, the teacher came over to me and he said something. He was like, Robert Townsend, come here. Where did you learn that? There's these records. They was in the library, now they're in my house, but that's how they do it in England. That's how they do it at the Royal Shakespeare Company. This guy named Richard Burton, this guy named John Gielgud. And that teacher said, you have a gift. You could be somebody. I was like, be somebody, be somebody. You could be somebody. In that moment, my life was changed forever. It's like today, you will be on the campus for the very first time, gentlemen and ladies. You are seeing another world. This is another world. Whatever you want in life, you can have. Let me tell you about the day I died. I shouldn't even be here. And because people, you know, we talk about faith and God and religion and all of that. I was supposed to be murdered. They found the other guy's body in a car, and we found it, and I think it was him, but we found it because of the smell, the stench in the car. So I'm going to tell you about the day I died. I was supposed to die. It was Saturday morning at Clark Park. When I was a kid, I had 2 nicknames. One was TV Guide, and the other one was Left, because I had a sweet left-hand jump shot. I was good. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So it was Saturday morning. I'm playing at Clark Park. So whoever makes the first shot gets to be captain. Whoever makes the first shot gets to be captain. I was feeling good this day. I was feeling like really good. So I'm up there shooting. One guy shoots, misses. Another guy shoots, misses. And then I got up there and I'm feeling good. All net. I was captain. Then the other guy shot, he was captain. It was all these tall dudes standing around. And this one tall dude with a chipped tooth, he was looking at me kind of crazy, and a little dude. I don't know. This morning I was feeling funny. I was feeling good. So I said, give me little man. And everybody laughed. The chip tooth dude looked at me crazy. The other guy picked chip tooth. I picked another dude. We started playing 5-on-5. And me and little man, we was running that court that day. Little man. Chip tooth wasn't too happy because I was killing him. Chip tooth says, I got lefty. I'm shutting your butt down. I got lefty. And he started to guard me rough, hand checking me. I go up for a shot. He slaps me across the face. Bam. The whole court goes crazy. He goes, that's how we do it. Now, there are moments in life where you have to find your voice. In front of everybody, I go, I got to foul. You can't guard me, so you got to play dirty. The whole court froze because my truth came out. I go, I got to foul. Oh, man, shut up and quit playing. Let's play ball, little bitch. So I took the ball, and I said, okay, let's play ball. I proceeded to wear him out. You got me? No, you ain't got me. What you reaching for? That? So, me and little man ran the court that day. We killed him. Next. Slow motion. Next. Cut to 3 weeks later. I had to run home from school every day because there were gangs everywhere. I never knew where the gangs were. So I'd be looking, and I'd take different routes. I only lived 10 minutes from school, but I always had to go different ways because I never knew where those gangs would be. On this particular day, I went down this alley between a building, narrow building, and I turned right into a gang initiation. It was the executioners, blue Tams, leather jackets. There's a guy on the ground crying, a guy standing over him with a gun pointed to his head, and they look around and see me. The guy with the gun is Chip Tooth. We got another one. Get on the ground. I don't give a, get on the ground. Only thing that came out of my mouth that day, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. I remember the still of the gun against my head, and all I said was, I didn't do nothing, because that's all could come out. Then I hear a voice say, let him go. Then I hear Chip Tooth and the voice arguing. I hear that voice again. I said, let him go. I look in the direction of the voice, and the leader of the gang was Little Man. In that moment, I was like, was I being funny that day? Was it me or was it God? My walk with God is very strong. My faith with God is very strong. And the reason I share that story with you, in life you will have challenges. In life there will be obstacles. Right now, in this moment, this is the perfect moment. You may say, why am I here today? Oh, college, man, I'm half asleep, man. I didn't party. I was thinking last night, man, my father and mother going through it. We ain't got the money. I don't know about college. I don't know. I want you to know, in this moment with success, what I have learned on my journey, it is all about going the extra mile. How hard will you work? Like the heroes that you guys love, you talk about Michael Jordan, you talk about LeBron. I just finished working with Colin Kaepernick. Oh my God. That brother took a knee. He changed the world because he decided what the voiceless have no voice, he gave voice to. Right now, and can I say something to this whole table right here, everybody, you late, can you give them, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. I have to say that because you're not even aware of the journey that just started for you. Some of you are awake now because you go like, oh, this brother came to really talk. No, I'm not here to just say, hey, hi, I'm a celebrity. No. I want you to win your race. I want you to know everything is possible everything is possible. You may say, well, you know, how did you? No. It's about hard work. What you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. We all have 24 hours in a day. What will you do with your 24 hours? Will you be on social media for 5 hours? Will you be watching the latest whatever show on television? Will you get caught up watching the sports? Will you put in work to make the destiny that and your reality of what you want in life real? So that's why I'm here today. I'm sorry, I went into a whole tangent, but I love you guys.
We love it. I'm only going to call you Reverend Dr. Robert Townsend moving forward, though. That was good. That was really good. But that's a good place right there, maximizing the journey. So you know, in that moment with the gang, somebody said, let him go. What happened after that?
I couldn't tell my mother. I just remember I ran because he looked at me. He gave me this look like, get out of here now because it's about to go down. And I just thanked him with my eyes. And I ran and I started crying. And I had this moment, I just kind of just cried because I was like, why is my life like this? I couldn't tell my mother, I couldn't tell anybody, but then I went into a world of fantasy and creativity, and it just propelled me to say, you know, things like this will happen, but I never wore it on me.
So the escapism, the fantasy, you know, the foundation in television, you were the family's TV guy, all of that helped shape this artistic inner thing that was building up in you. Talk about overcoming inner city Chicago and its challenges and then getting on the pursuit to your creative path.
You have to create your own reality. I'm hard-headed. You know, when I did my first film, Hollywood Shuffle, for those of the young men that don't know Hollywood Shuffle, because this table, Hollywood Shuffle was my first movie. I had never made a movie before. I was auditioning for all kinds of negative roles. Pimps, drug dealers, gangsters, all kind of stereotypical stuff. I got really mad, and rather than complain about it, I said, I will make my own movie. And what I did was, I was one of the first. Spike was in New York, I was in Los Angeles. My best friend, this gentleman named Keenan Ivory Wayans, Keenan says, hey Rob, we can make our own movie. I had $60,000 in the bank, and I said, I had just finished doing a movie with Denzel called The Soldier Story, and we got nominated for 4 Academy Awards, and so I told my agent, I said, hey, I want to do more movies like this. He says, they only do 1 black movie a year. I went to Keenan and I said, man, we can't let Hollywood tell our stories. We got to make our own movies. So I took my $60,000 out of the bank and I started to make my first movie. I didn't go to film school, had never directed anything. I just believed in me and I bet on me. I ran out of money because I didn't know what I was doing, and then I was on the road doing stand-up comedy, and I came back home and I had nothing but applications for credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, Chevron, Shell, Mobil. So I said, I'll finish the film with credit cards. So I charged the rest of the film on credit cards, $40,000 on credit cards. Keenan and I, we make each other laugh, and it was like the film was, you know, it was the first time John Weatherspoon, his brother Damon Wayans had 2 lines in the movie. We had all these people together. We sold the film. The film eventually went on to make $8 million on a $100,000 investment. So that's how I was born in Hollywood.
That idea of betting on yourself seems essential in so many people's stories because you did the credit card scenario. Ava DuVernay, who was a publicist and one who wasn't happy in the publicity film because she really wanted to promote her own works and not the works of others, went and maxed out a credit card to do her first film. Issa Rae, who we know from Insecure, maxed out a credit card. Betting on yourself is important. Talk about just getting to a place where you believe enough in yourself to say, not only am I going to take the leap and risk it all on myself, but I'm going to do it and possibly maybe create more debt than I ever imagined in my life.
Well, let me say this. In life, you never think of the negative. It's always about the positive. You know, it's like it's one day at a time. It's one day. You know, it's what we call the salami theory. Salami is like this. It's just like one little piece at a time, one little piece at a time. So, you know, like when I think about these young men and switching places with them, we didn't have cell phones back then. You know, that cell phone right now is your office. You know, there was a time you have to go to the library to get everything. You're like, hey, I want to know about, you know,
The Dewey Decimal System.
yeah, you know, and you can get on your cell phone. A lot of people just use it for social media, but you can say, Siri, show me a business plan for a barbershop. Siri, show me grants for students of color. Sir, there's so much at your fingertips. It's just utilizing that other side of your brain. And sometimes people go, do you really want it? Do you really want to help your mother? Do you really want to help your grandmother? You know, you can be the catalyst of change, break whatever, you know, curses on that family. It could start with you. But a lot of times people go like, well, what can I do? What can I do? But that phone now is, it's a game changer, because my phone is my office. Anything I need, anything I want. But again, you have to, you know, you have to be focused and tenacious about whatever you want.
You break into the business, you start having success. What is one of the greatest lessons you learned early on? What is something that happened to you fundamentally early in the career that has stuck with you throughout the course of your career?
There's a couple of things. Oh, I'll tell you one. The day I was going to give up. So I'm living in New York City, and I was doing extra work back then. I was an extra in The Wiz. I was an extra in the movie The Warriors. And I was about to give up because there was no work, and me and all my boys, we would meet at the Actors Equity Lounge, and they had a bulletin board with auditions on it, and all of us were going through it. And one of my boys was really going through it. He didn't look good. He was stressed. And he came in there, and he's like, Rob, man, I'm about to give up, man. I think this is not going to work for me, man. I'm about the craft, but they're not hearing me. I go, man, you can't give up. We just got to keep working hard. And it's like, anything on the bulletin board, Rob? I go like, no. And he's like, man, I know it's about the craft. I was like, you need a few dollars? And he's like, nah, man, I can't take no money from you. Let me go up to his unemployment office. And I was like, keep your head up, man. Keep your head up. You're going to be okay. You Denzel Washington. So let me tell you about the day I was going to give up. So because I got to share this with you. So I call my mother and I say, Ma, I don't know if it's going to work for me. I'm not getting any work. My money's tight. Can't breathe. I don't know. I think I want to give up. And my mother goes, before you do anything, baby, go to church. Just go to church this Sunday. Just go to church. See what God says. Pray on it. So that Sunday, I went to church at Lincoln Center. His name, he was more of a teacher than a minister. His name was Dr. Eric Butterworth. And he was like this old white dude. He was kind of old, and he moved like really slow, and his sermon changed my life. Words. Words are very powerful. If you say it's going to be a bad day, it's going to be a bad day. If you say they don't want you for that part, they're not going to want you for that part. Words are powerful. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Change your words, change your life. Change your words, change your life. Change happens in a second. Change your words, change your life. I left out of there on fire. To this day, I watch every word that comes out of my mouth. I watch every word that comes out of my mouth. So here's what happened. I go home and I said, I'm going to turn my life around. I'm going to turn my life around. The phone rings. It's my agent calling on a Sunday. He goes, Robert, I got an audition for you to be an extra in a Pepsi commercial. It's an extra. They just want to see what you look like on camera. I go, thank you, thank you. I said to myself, I'm getting this job. I'm getting this job. So that Sunday evening, I did something I had never done before. I stayed home and all I did was watch Pepsi commercials. Pepsi, 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 red, white, and blue, Pepsi, Pepsi generation. I got pennies out of my jar, and I went to a sporting goods store before I went to the audition and got a red, white, and blue headband. At the audition, they brought us in 15 at a time. We were being extras to watch a Frisbee match. So the woman was really cool, the casting director. She was like, we just want to see what you look like on camera. We want to see your smiles. Have fun, have fun. And I decided to have fun. She says, when the Frisbee's over here, look over here. When the Frisbee's over here, look over here. So when she said the Frisbee was over here, I looked over here. And when she said the Frisbee was over here, I looked over here. When I get home, my agent calls, Robert, you got it, but the director wants to make sure you know where the Frisbee is. It gets better. We get to Fordham University. I am the tall brother on the back row. There is 200 of us. And I decide to have even more fun. I name the players throwing the Frisbee. I'm just an extra in the background. I'm on the back row. So I go, come on, Michael, come on. Oh, Dexter, you can't catch it. Sheila, come on. The dog is better than you, Phil. I hear, they say, cut. All the extras around me start laughing. What are you doing? What are you doing? Nobody's watching us. We're extras. Once you're an extra, you're in the background. Nobody cares about that. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. So I was like, wow. I went to the other side of the field. I said, I'm still going to have fun. I don't care what they say. I'm still going to have fun. So I went over here and I practiced opening the Pepsi, opening the Coke, drinking the Pepsi, Pepsi. Then I hear over the speaker, the first AD, the guy who runs everything, cut. The gentleman in the red, white, and blue headband, move to the third row. Action. I practice my smile. Cut. The gentleman in the red, white, and blue headband, move to the first row. Cut. I get home, there are 7 messages from my agent. And then he calls. Robert, what did you do? Robert, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? I was just being funny. I was just being silly. Well, whatever you did, do it again. They just made you a principal in this commercial. It was Pepsi's biggest campaign. They did a 60-second spot, a 30-second spot, a 15-second spot, and it played in Europe. I made close to $50,000 off that commercial. In that moment, I learned to watch my words. I learned to go the extra mile. If you believe you can't do it, then you can't do it. So if you say, they don't want me, then they're not going to want you. I can't do it, then you can't. It's like my son, used to run track, and he was like, Dad, I don't know if I can win this race. These other schools, they're really fast. I said, just get out there and do your best. Just run as hard as you can and get your best. Do your best. You can do it. You can do it. You're going to win. You're going to win. But Dad, you're going to win. You're going to win. And he'd be at the race, and I'd be in the stands, and I'm watching him, and he won. And then after it was over with, he was like, Dad, I thought. I was like, words, words, words. Like today, some of you are stuck because somebody told you something. Somebody said, you black, you can't do it. Black boys, like right now, if you said, I'm having this conversation with this filmmaker, and he's just a regular guy like me. He grew up in the hood. You have no story. You have no story that you can't say, well, my daddy wasn't there. My daddy wasn't there. We were on welfare. I was on welfare. The gangs, drug dealers, the drug dealers. You get to decide what hand you want to play. You get to decide what hand you want to play. Sorry, I get excited.
Listen, you make my work easy, man. Very easy. I'm going to ask one more question, but while I'm asking it, we're going to start the Q&A. So if you have questions out there, we're going to make this an interactive experience. We have a mic here in the middle of the floor. Anybody has questions, start coming this way. So your mother told you to go to church. Reverend Butterworth preached at Lincoln Center and said something that literally changed your life. Once you got into the business and started having success, was there anybody in the industry that continued to motivate you? Were there any encounters or situations that also just continued to keep you on that path of excellence? Any additional lessons or inspirations that happened on the journey?
The first person, he's my godfather to this day. When I did my first movie, people say, well, who do you want to meet? Who excites you? When I was a kid watching that little black and white TV in the hood, there was only one man of color that I saw that really had dignity on the screen, and that was Sidney Poitier. And so Sidney Poitier, for you youngsters, he was the first man of color to win the Academy Award. After him, it was Louis Gossett, and after him, it was Denzel. But the very first one in 1964 to win the Academy Award was a gentleman named Sidney Poitier. And he always had dignity on the screen. And so my first question to him when I met him was, how did you get to have dignity in the 60s and in the 50s when so many black people were shuffling? And he laughed. He says, the power to say no. And I was like, the power to say no? He says, I didn't accept every role that came along. It's like, you know, a lot of the rappers say, all money ain't good money. So you have to pick and choose what's in it for you and how you want to do it and what vision you have for your life and your, like, you know, so sometimes I talk at prisons, and I just remember this one cat, you know, these drug dealers, and I was talking to him and I said, this one kid, he was in the projects and he had a Ferrari. And I was like, dude, did you know you're gonna get caught? You were driving a Ferrari. And I said, why did you get a Ferrari? And he said, because I wanted it. And he was like, I didn't understand business. I didn't understand all of that. I thought I was making easy money, but there's no easy money. So
No easy money and no fast money. All right, do we have any questions? State your name, what grade you're in, and get right to your question.
Hello, I'm James Green. I'm from the E3 Sports, and I'm 11 years old. I have a question for you, Robert. What is the importance in writing, since you're the movie director and you create movies? Like, what's the importance of it, and can I have some tips on how you create out with the movies?
Oh, well, thank you for asking the question. And, you know, and I want other questions from everybody in this room. Gentlemen, this is the golden opportunity. There are no dumb questions. It takes courage. Thank you so much for being the first one to step up to answer that question. The reason I write the movies that I write is because sometimes when I see stories of people of color on the screen, they are not portrayed in the way that I think. Like, for example, one of the films that I directed that now people consider a classic is The 5 Heartbeats. Mm-hmm. And when I was, thank you. When I was creating The 5 Heartbeats, the reason I really created The 5 Heartbeats because I wanted you to see black men in different lights. So you have 5 different characters, and they all are different, and they relate to each other in different ways, so that we were not just one kind of person, one kind of man. But thank you for your question. Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'd say that mine is not a question. Mine is a thank you. Mine's a thank you. My name is Jack Shepard. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've been on Def Jam, Comic View, Apollo, Off the Chain, all that. I'm also a filmmaker. I got 2 movies on Amazon Prime, and I got there because I watched you.
Thank you.
And thank you. And I'm telling you, y'all got a real treat here today watching this young man, because now my daughter is in filmmaking in college, following me, which is following you. So I want to give you applause because of that, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
How you doing?
Very good, sir. Very good, sir.
My name is Daryl Glenn. I write. My pen name is Robert Allen Russell. I named it after somebody.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
If I gave you something, would you give me some feedback?
I can't read anything. I mean, I'm so busy right now. It's like
it's on video recording.
I can't watch. You know, because here's the thing. I stopped reading a long time ago because I get hundreds of submissions, and what happens is, it's like if I don't watch it in time, then you'll go like, hey man, you said you're gonna watch my stuff, you're gonna read my stuff, and there'd be a backlog. I have scripts in my house. Right now, I leave here, and I'm about to go to New York for 3 months to shoot, so I don't have really time. And let me say this, I wish I could, but here's my piece of advice to you. When I was starting out, you never know who is next to you. So if you are serious about your craft, you reach out to every filmmaker in this town. You reach out to professors in this town, because everybody wants to get to me, they want to get to Spike, they want to get to Ava, but they haven't done their homework. So if you send the script to me, it's not ready for me, because you're feeling my energy in this room. I have a brain, so I go like, like that, you're not ready. So what I would say is that reach out to everyone around, do a table read. Like, where's the Turner brothers? I got to thank the Turner brothers.
Back there in the corner.
Where they at, the Turner brothers? Where y'all at? Stand up. These are two really amazing, talented filmmakers. They are about to blow the world up, and we've been working together, and I'm just excited. Have a seat, gentlemen. But they know the homework. Did you guys do a table read? Have I been working y'all like slaves? Yes. So they are doing the homework. What made Michael Jordan one of the greatest basketball players ever? He knew how to move without the ball. You now must put, energy, what we call it keeping energy on your baby. So if you've written something or if you got something, get feedback on it to make it strong and the best it can be.
Thank you very much.
If I can add to that to help you and everybody else in the room, there's also a danger when someone of his stature takes an unsolicited project like that and reads it for critique. Because if for some reason he is hired to work on a project, we saw all the stuff he's directing at the end of the video package, and you look up and you see a likeness to maybe a character or something, then that's why you read in the trades that people sue successful people because I gave you this back in 1986, and now you have a derivative character, and so it's not. From a business standpoint, it's not safe for him also to put himself in that situation, and also protects your creative work.
Thank you, though.
Hello, Mr. Robert.
Good morning, good morning.
I have a question. How did you have the courage to keep pushing when you was at your lowest point in your career?
Good question. Let me say this. My faith has always been strong. Even when I have those doubts, and you will have doubts. My faith is always, I get on my knees. And like I said, my circle, like with my mom, with everybody around, because sometimes, let me say this. If you want to be on an island by yourself, you can be on an island by yourself. Like, it's just me, these are my problems. Or you can say, hey, I'm trying to figure this out. Sometimes when I have questions, I'm open to whoever's around my circle that I trust. But I pray. I'm grounded. I stay focused like that. Like my energy, I can't help but release. Because if I'm going to show up anywhere, I'm going to give my all. And if I give my all, it'll come back. You follow what I'm saying? But anytime you get lost, and I'll say this, even as a young man, you eat food to nourish your body, but you need spiritual food too to nourish your mind. Amen. Because if you do not feed your brain good things, positive things, then you're just going to be, it's like junk food in your head. So that keeps me strong as well and grounded. So that's what I would say as well.
Thank you.
Great question.
My name is Malachi. I'm from MBK, and my question is, who's the most famous person you met, and are you a millionaire?
Say that again. Say that again.
Who's the most famous person you met, and are you a millionaire?
Yes and yes. Who is the most famous person? Well, I've met pretty much everybody. So, I mean, you name a person, I've met pretty much. I'm just trying to think. The only person that I regret that I did not meet, and I was supposed to go, was Nelson Mandela. That was the only person I didn't meet. But everybody else in Hollywood, if you were to name somebody, either I've worked with them, I've directed them. I was Beyonce's first director for Carmen the Hip Opera. Denzel and I have worked together. Angela Bassett, James Earl Jones, Sidney Poitier. I did his documentary, but he's the only one who says no to me because he goes, I would love to work with you, but I'm retired. So he's the only one. But other than that, everybody, Kendrick Lamar. I mean, I've met everybody pretty much. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Big fan.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Watkins. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit called the National Skilled Trade Network. Our mission is to provide young people with the knowledge to be in the skilled trades. My question to you is, did you see us represented behind the scenes on the scenes as far as carpenters and electricians? And if you didn't, what suggestions would you give to someone like our organization to be able to take advantage of opportunities like that?
You know, my whole career has been dedicated to that. What people don't, like when you look at my movies and my television shows, my crew, I try to focus on that. That's always been like, you know, when I was starting out on set and it was even a movie of color, there would be nobody like us behind the scenes. And so my whole time has been dedicated to, hey, who's on the crew? Can I get somebody there? Can I train somebody there? I did a film in Chicago called Of Boys and Men with Angela Bassett, and I started my shadow training program there so that everyone on the crew had 3 people of color that were following them around and learning. And a lot of that crew went on to do like Chicago Med and all those shows and Empire. So once I left, but it's about training. It's about training and making sure that they show up and they do the job well.
Right.
Because I never want to play the game of, it's a brother.
Right.
But sometimes we treat us the worst.
Right.
And so there's got to be a certain kind of etiquette, a certain kind of respect. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I've worked with certain crew that got very comfortable, and I've worked with crew that is very respectful. You know, like for example, it is Mr. Poitier, you know, to me. I'm going to say Mr. Poitier. I would never say Sidney.
Right.
So there's a certain level of like respect,
Right.
you know, like elders. And so it's like, I don't care. It's like if somebody has done, you know, so there's a certain thing that I think to grow, we have to understand there is a certain, you know, way to be, there's a certain culture of respect that needs to be cultivated. That's what I would say.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
To add on to that, how do you feel in this climate now with inclusion writers and seeing this push for multicultural people to be working behind the scenes? What's that been like on the projects and stuff that you're working on to see diversity heightened, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes?
Well, you know, I've been committed to it for over 30 years. So, you know, so for me, it's great to see working with Ava, like doing Colin in black and white. It's like how it should always be, you know. And you got some really talented people. The thing for me is that I'm hard on talent. I want the work to always be amazing. So I'm always going after, how do I create the next classic? How do I create, you know, like I think Colin in black and white is really well done, and I think it speaks to this man's journey and a man of color. And when I was directing the episodes on his life, it reminded me of my childhood when I first discovered racism, and I was like, wow, they're treating me differently because of the color of my skin. So, no, I think it's a beautiful thing, but I just want to make sure that whoever comes in, I have laser eyes that they can really do the job and do it even better.
Last 2 questions.
Yes, my name is Millard Morgan. I'm one of the leaders of E3 Sports. The first young man is one of our students, and I'm from Chicago, Illinois, so we always big up you and show you love because you're one of our trailblazers from back home. What I want you to do, Robert, is expound on the importance of writing for these young people and let them know how their favorite TV shows, their favorite movies, even their favorite artists, how everything that they love starts with writing and how they should be taking writing very seriously and trying to hone in on that craft to become better, and they'll realize how far it can take them in life.
Well, you know, it's writing is a muscle that has to be developed. It's like anything in life. Writing, directing, producing, whatever you want to do, it's a muscle, and the more you do it, the stronger you get at it. And I don't look at mistakes or anything like that. I look at, did I try? Did I, you know, because sometimes people are really hard on themselves when they write a script and they go like, oh, I want it to be perfect. And it's never about being perfect. It is about starting the journey. Can you start the journey? So when I think in terms of this new generation of young, you know, men of color, it's like wherever you want to go, you can get to the destination. Everybody in this room can touch the brass ring. It's like, when I look at this, it's just, I just work hard. You know, you go like, man, he's done a lot of movies, a lot of television shows. I just work hard. So I just think that when you talk about the best, you know, the best rappers, the best artists, the best athletes, they're in that gym overtime, working. So when I think about writing for me, I love it so much. And so now I'm also a professor at USC. And I was telling my students the other day, I said, I really don't work. I don't have a job. I love what I do. So when I go in there, we just talk about making movies. I'll leave now and go shoot a movie. I love it. So it's not work. So if you really have a passion for whatever it is that you want to do, and you have that passion, as long as you can stay focused on it, you will always win. You will always win.
Hello, I'm Savion Payne, and I just turned 22 yesterday, and I really respect your story. So I just wanted to ask, what is an uncomfortable moment that made you grow in life?
Great question. An uncomfortable moment. That's a beautiful question. I'll give you the moment. Here's a moment that changed my life. So I wasn't 22. You're 22, right?
Yes, sir. I
was 19, and I'm in the theater department at USC. I mean, not USC, ISU, University, yes, ISU. And so, Normal Bloomington. And so I'm in the theater department, and like I said, I'm hungry to understand acting and everything. So they said the best actors came from New York. And so I was like, New York, I got to get to New York, and I want to know. And one of my teachers happened to be from New York. And so I would see her, and I would say, tell me about New York. Tell me about the actors in New York. Tell me how the actors work in New York. I love New York. All the great actors come out of New York. And she said, stop asking about New York. You don't have what it takes to make it in New York. You don't have what it takes to make it in this industry. You're wasting your time. She crushed me. That day, because no one had ever talked to me, and you have an adult talking, like I was 19. So if an adult came up to you now and said, hey, you don't have dreams, you can't do anything, you would go like, whoa, 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 whoa. She shut me down so hard, I walked the campus dazed. I was just like, oh man, I can't make it. She told me I couldn't make it. I can't be in show business. I can't. And then I shook it off. She doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know what's in me. She doesn't know me. How can she say that to me? And I grounded myself, and I said, I got to leave here. And as luck or God would have it, I stopped in front of the sign that said, Student Exchange Office. Exchange with any student in the country. That day, I called my mother and I said, I'm leaving this school and I'm going to New York. I went in that office right away and I said, I want to go to a school in New York. And they said, we don't have a school in New York. We have a school in New Jersey, Patterson, New Jersey, 20 minutes from New York. I said, I'll take it. And I transferred out of there. So let me say this. In that moment, I could have let her crush me or I could rise higher. I said, eagle wings up, baby, we're going. So in that moment, if I could see her now, I'd give her the biggest hug because none of this would have been happening if she didn't talk to me that day. So when you have those moments, that's the right question. You will have those moments, and then you got to say, is this real? Does she really know me, or is she messing with me? Is she a hater? Oh, she's a hater. Or maybe she has some truth. I got to see for me, though. I'm hard-headed, so I got to see always for me. So I just want you to be as hard-headed as possible to see what is for you. Because at 22, you're stepping into your own right now. And it's like, who am I going to be? What do I want? Can I really have a life? Can I drive a nice car? Can I have a house? Can I really make money? Oh, my mom says this, my dad says this, the neighborhood says this. So I don't know who you are, but we all carry, I got to tell you this one story. One story. I went to Africa. I finished a movie, 10,000 Black Men Named George, and I decided I was going to go to Africa and climb the tallest mountain in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. And I said, I want to climb a mountain. I just want to know what it takes, because in church they talk about peaks and valleys. And I said, I'm going to go and climb a mountain, and I just want to see what lessons I learned from climbing a mountain. And so I called and I said, hey, I want to go climb a mountain. Got on a plane, found a resort that took climbers up the mountain. I said, I want to take the dangerous route up the mountain. I said, I want to learn what I can learn from climbing a mountain. So I get to Africa, Tanzania, and I decide that I'm going to climb this mountain. So I just got to tell you this part, what it takes to climb a mountain. Just one lesson, because I wrote in my journal, I said, okay, God, show me what it's supposed to be, and what am I supposed to learn, and what are the lessons of climbing a mountain. The first day, they make you sign a contract. If you are attacked by a wild boar, we are not responsible. If you are bitten by a poisonous snake, we are not responsible. If you fall 50,000 feet to your death, we are not responsible. Have a nice climb. First thing about climbing a mountain, because all of you right now are climbing mountains at different tiers, you got to make a contract with yourself. I'm going to take that mountain no matter what. I'm going to take that mountain. So let me tell you about the first day of the climb up the mountain, which was beautiful. What people don't understand is that the top of the mountain is up there. The sun comes out. It melts the snow trickles, it becomes water, trickles down to the bed of the mountain, and it becomes mud. So my first day of the mountain was going through mud. Hour one, mud up here, mud, mud, mud. Hour two, mud. Hour three, mud. Hour four, mud. Hour five, I was like, maybe I should have went to Jamaica. And I was like, hour six. 7 hours later, I got to the first tier of the mountain. I wrote in my journal that night, I see why a lot of people don't make it in life. Everybody wants to be on top of whatever mountain they're trying to climb, but nobody wants to go through the mud.
Amen.
So, you're starting your journey. Don't be afraid of the mud.
Good stuff. Brother in the black, I know you had the last question. You're going to give it up to the brother in the white. Okay, go ahead.
How we doing? Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
My name is Derek Henry Sr. I'm a father here supporting my daughter. She's a part of the E3 Sports Broadcasting program.
Thank you so much for being here, sir. Real talk.
No problem. Pleasure to be here. Thank you. My question to you, Mr. Townsend, Brother Townsend, is I believe I heard you say you were going to be going to New York for the next 3 months or so, somewhat or so forth. So my question to you is, sir, I'm sure as a young African-American aspiring and inspiring artist at one proportion of time, and I'm sure you possibly didn't have the team organized around you as you possibly have right now, sir. So can you describe a time when you possibly maybe became overextended in your line of work, maybe possibly after your first hit of something of some sort, and you maybe not have been as experienced as you are now? So I can imagine, as a young artist, you get your first hit, now your phone's ringing, and you got many deals coming in and a lot of money in front of you per se. How did you, at that time, manage, whether good or not, how did you navigate through that so that if you became overextended, how did you get back to manage it? And I guess overall, because now you said you're going to New York for 3 months, I'm sure you have a system or a flow or a balance of things in your life now where, when work comes in, you're like, okay, let's put that off here. We're not ready for that yet. Let's not take on everything at once. So I just wanted to ask you that to maybe learn from that myself, and then.
So the thing that I would say, and this is for everybody, for all my young men here, I keep a journal. I write everything down. I write down my vision. I write down my short-term goals, my long-term goals. I write down steps in slow motion. Everything is in slow motion. So it's kind of like time management. You are the CEO. All these young men right now are the CEOs of their own companies. So now, if they waste time and they go, I'm only going to do an hour of real work, if you write everything down and then you say, like today, there's an agenda here. So that we, from here, you go to here, to here, to here, there was a program. In life, you have to write down everything. It can't be here. Everything's got to be written down so that you can say, I want to, like right now I have a serious schedule. So I know I've got a pre-production, I'm writing a script, I'm developing a television show, I'm getting ready to shoot something. So I go, while I'm shooting on the weekends, I'm going to be writing. And then when I'm not writing, I got to go da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So you just look at it, and every day, like on the plane here, I was working, go to sleep for a little bit, work. Got up this morning, I said, hey, I'm going to speak today. So I was warming up in there for like 25 minutes just to get my voice and my energy up because I didn't want to be half asleep like, yes, I'm Robert Townsend, how y'all doing? I'm like, I really want to be effective today. I really want this to be a divine appointment. I really want these kids to have a breakthrough. There's somebody that needs to hear this today that may be sitting on that idea, that strategy, that vision. So when you're talking about a blueprint, it is a blueprint. Because right now, it's like if you needed to get to so-and-so and so-and-so restaurant in town, you put it in your navigation system. If you're trying to get to success,
Put in your navigation system.
you have no plan. You're just like, I want it. No. What is your plan? And maybe sometimes your plan could be a little bit off. And then you make adjustments. Like detour, turn. Sometimes in life you have detours. So all I'm saying to you is that if you can download all the stuff that's in your brain. I call it a vomit session. Like when I work with writers, I will go, just vomit out everything. He comes through the door. He's walking through the door. He's da-da-da-da-da-da. So whatever business you want to have, I walk through everything in slow motion. That's all I would say. Did that answer your question?
Understood.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
So,
Mama's standing up. It is time.
Yes. So final words for the people. Just your last impartation.
Final thoughts. Oh, I can't. Final thoughts. Can everybody stand, please? Everybody stand, please. Everybody stand. Close your eyes, please. Close your eyes. Relax your hands, relax your body, relax all of it. Hands at your side, relax. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just relax, everybody, just relax. Just hear the sound of my voice. Heavenly Father, I just want you to come into the room right now. I want you to supercharge everyone in this room with supernatural favor, Heavenly Father. Cover them, cover their families. Heavenly Father, anybody that's going through anything today, we dissolve that problem, we melt it away. These young men, Heavenly Father, I just ask that you cover them, guide them, give them discerning spirits. Let them seek out their higher selves. Let them be reborn in this beautiful moment. I pray for everybody that has put this event together, all the sponsors, all the staffs, all the volunteers. In this beautiful, perfect moment, we just thank you for abundance of favor, family, friends, everyone, university, in this moment. Amen.
Amen. All right, so we're going to take a 5-minute intermission, and then we're going to convene in the U.S. Bank Theater while DJ IQ spins some music on our way out, all right? Robert, we're going to take a few shots before you leave.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm excited about this next section of the wonderful day that we're all having. But before we get started with anything, really quickly, I just want to make sure y'all are alive and alert and ready to rock because we're going to have some really dope speakers here in a second that are going to share their insight and their wisdom and what I call how to add process to your passion. And that's really important because especially as artists and entrepreneurs and as dreamers, a lot of times we start out really high on passion and low on process. And that's the disconnect, is not adding process to your passion. The three expert panelists that you have here today are going to show you and talk to you about how to add the process to your passion. We got a lot of really great nuggets from Mr. Robert Townsend earlier about how to add process to your passion, and we're going to continue in that vein. But before we do that, really quickly, I just want to make sure y'all are alive and alert and ready to go. We're going to play a game real quick, if you don't mind, that is just like Simon Says, only totally different, okay? So you know, like Simon Says is like hop on one foot, tap your head, pick your nose, whatever. Nothing like that. I'm going to give y'all 5 motions to do. Y'all just do these motions, follow along. I'm going to put the mic down real quick. And y'all follow along with me real quick. Order up, order down, order nose, order lobes, order bows. That's all you got to do. Order up, order down, order nose, order lobes, order bows. Here's how it's like Simon Says. If I say the word order, do the motion. If I don't say the word order, don't do the motion. Only do the motion when I say the word order. If you do the motion when I don't say the word order, you're out, you sit down, we'll be done. We'll see who can last the longest, all right? Everybody stand up on your feet, stand up on your feet, stand up on your feet.
I'm about to get the trophy.
I did not say order, you're all out. No, I'm just kidding.
No food tonight.
All right, here we go. You don't have to say it, just do the motion with me real quick. This is actually, we're going to learn some life lessons because, life comes at you fast, and if you ain't ready for it, you can get caught off guard. So, here we go. Order up, order down. Order nose, order down. Order up, down. Sit down. Order down, up, sit down. Order up, order nose, order lobes, order nose, order bows. Order nose, order lobes, order down, up, sit down. Order up, down. Sit down. Order down. Order nose. Order lobes. Order bows. Order nose. Order lobes. Order nose. Lobes. Sit down. Order lobes. Order bows. Order up. Down. Sit down. Order down. Order nose. Order lobes. Order bows. Order nose. Order lobes. Order down. Up. Order up. Down. Got him. Give it up for everybody who's still standing. Give it up for him. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? So here we go. Oh, by the way, my name is Javier Sanchez. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, born and raised here my whole life. Used to live in the Cayman Islands, but moved back here in 2000 and love working with young people. It's my passion and my purpose, right? And I want to tell you all a real quick story about why this moment is so important based on an experience I had a while ago, and I just want y'all to be ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I was invited to Virginia. This has probably been about 15 years or so ago, to do a conference, a youth conference, all about how to make it in the entertainment industry. I work in TV, I work in film. I've worked for Russell Simmons for a long time with the Hip Hop Summit Action Network. And I'm down there at this conference. The young people that attended this conference were there because they had aspirations to be in the entertainment industry, as producers, as performers, as choreographers, as dancers, whatever it was. They were there for that reason, right? I come in, I do a workshop, how to add process to your passion. I got 2 friends with me. One from Sony, one from Bad Boy. Bad Boy Records, y'all probably might not know, that was Diddy's record label back in the day. It was poppin'. You had Biggie and Craig Mack and 112 and Total and all these groups that y'all may never heard of, right? Got a room full of young people just like this. 2 of my homeboys there. One from Bad Boy, one from Sony. Right? I don't introduce them. I just let them sit in the back of the room. I just let them sit in the back of the room and watch. I'm talking to young people about how to add process to your passion. I'm asking them, share with me what your passion is. Tell me something you're passionate about. Tell me why you're here today. Young people, when I tell you, it was like pulling teeth. It was like pulling teeth to get them to share what they were passionate about. They're at an entertainment conference, a conference that is there to help them pursue their passion. and they didn't want to talk about it. Well, I started to get the picture, like they just wanted to get on. They just came looking for somebody to put them on without making an effort, right? Like Robert Townsend said, they didn't want to go through the mud. They just wanted to get to the top of the mountain. Really hard it was like pulling teeth, getting them to share what they were there for, what they were passionate about. It was about a 60-minute workshop or whatever. We had a good time. You know, I mix it up with them, make it happen. They all leave. I'm talking to my homeboys afterwards. I was like, what'd y'all think? Both of them look at each other and they said, they ain't ready. Ain't none of them ready, right? Now, what would have happened if at the beginning of the session, I would have said, before we get started, I just want to introduce two friends of mine. I got so-and-so, he's A&R Bad Boy Records. So-and-so, he's from Sony. What would their attitudes have changed? Would their response to my question about what you're passionate about changed, right? They would have perked up because they knew somebody was watching, right? I shouldn't have had to introduce them. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You never know who's watching. So be mindful of who you're in the room with today and the opportunity that might be here. Because you don't know you may not know who you're in the room with, and you may not know what kind of opportunity they can open up for you. So I just want y'all to be mindful of that, and we're so thankful that you all took the time to be here today. I'm going to be moderating, asking them the tough questions. John is a hard act to follow, so you set the bar real high, and so I'm going to try to meet that. We met John Murray earlier, TV host, pop culture expert, and entrepreneur, right? Doing his thing in a major way. We also have Louise West. She's an entertainment attorney and founding member of BESLA. BESLA is Black Entertainment and Sports Lawyer Association. And where are you from, Ms. West?
Washington, D.C. My office is in New York, though.
So our office is in New York, from Washington, D.C. John, where'd you fly in from?
Washington, D.C.
D.C. is in the building. So understand, young people, they are here on purpose and with purpose. Like they made it their mission to be here because they recognize how valuable you are and how worth it is for them to be here sharing their wisdom with you all. So be mindful of that. And my brother Otis Winston, that you see the language or the words underneath his name, that is a disservice to who this man is and what this man does. It says actor and OSU alum. There's so much more to him than that. He is an actor, he is a writer, he is a director, he is the founder of Buckeye Born Apparel. And anytime you see Otis anywhere, he's going to be representing Buckeye Born Apparel. He's got the Focus brand, and he'll talk about Focus and what that means to him and how that has helped him move into the places that he has moved into and do the things that he's done. So we're thankful for all of them being here today, sharing with us how to add process to our passion. Let's give them a welcome round of applause. Now, Ms. West, the first question is for you. You've guided the careers of some of the most accomplished hip-hop artists of our generation, and I want to ask you, it says it's written here, but I'm just curious myself, how did you find yourself in the hip-hop space?
I think it walked through my door.
Oh, and by the way, feel free to name drop, you know what I'm saying, just to get us excited.
Yeah, it's funny. I ran into Jay-Z, this is a couple of years ago, and I said, don't send me a cease and desist letter. He was like, why would I do that? I said, because I tell your story. He says, you better tell it, because everybody needs to hear my story, how long it took, and all the stuff we went through to launch Rockefeller Records. So I'll tell you guys about that.
And so Rockefeller was your introduction to hip-hop, or?
Well, yeah, actually, this record executive referred his stepson and cousin to me. That was Darian Dash and Damon Dash. And he was actually running New Kids on the Block's label. His name was Cecil Holmes. And he said, they're in here disrupting the office. I don't have time to talk to them. And I kind of trust you, you know, because they're only 17 years old. So he said, can you help them get organized? They've got this act. I don't know what they're doing. But he said, my stepson has a full academic scholarship to USC in September. You just make sure I'll pay your fee as long as I can. But you just make sure he's in college in September. I said, okay. So here come the two cousins. Darian Dash, very dynamic. Oh, he can really talk. They wanted to sign this artist. Long story short, we signed the artist. Another long story short, they stumble into this deal at Atlantic Records. So the next thing you know, there's the Jeeps, the jewelry, they're walking around, they got money, blah, blah, blah. While they're at Atlantic, they meet a guy named DJ Clark Kent from Brooklyn. Some of you may know him, you can look him up, fabulous guy. So Clark Kent says, look, man, I got the producer for your company, and I got this artist that you guys should sign. Who was the artist? Jay-Z. So in comes a guy named Ski and Jay-Z. So we're all, trying to get this record. Darian goes off to college, leaves Damon kind of stranded in New York. Now, Damon's mother had passed away when he was 14. He's a juvenile diabetic. So he's got all these negative things. And he was kind of shy. Then, little did I know he became Mouth Almighty in the process. But here comes Ski and here comes Jay-Z. So we kind of lose our deal at Atlantic. We kind of run out of money. So everybody says, Louise, you know everybody. So you just go get Jay-Z a deal. So I talked to a lot of people. Nobody got Jay-Z. I go to the show to see Jay-Z perform, and he's up there, eepy, 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 and he's just standing at the mic. So I said to Damon, I said, is there a show? I mean, how are we going to present this guy? He says, oh, this is the new thing. See, you're just a lawyer. You don't know. This is new. So the next meeting we had, they're screaming at me like, why can't I get Jay-Z a deal? I'm like, you guys need to go independent. Everybody whirls around and says, well, what's an independent? I go, oh, teachable moment. If you want to learn, I will teach you. But if you want it easy, you all can all leave now. So we had this pact. We're going to create this independent, and they're going to learn the business. So another long story short, we did the trademark. We, got the company organized. We had no money. And so the deal was they would go out at night and break into these studios, just go in and say, let me get on that, let me get on that. And literally, some of the biggest hit records, Jay-Z just sold for cash money to keep everybody eating, because it was really about 10 guys, a few from Harlem, a few from Brooklyn. So that kept us alive until I did a budget, to say, well, we need $200,000 to do the video, finish the record, and put it out. So everybody looks at me like, where do you think we're going to get that money from? I said, well, okay, you're from Brooklyn, You're from Harlem. Go back to your neighborhood. Look at the guys that own the stores. We can put together, like an investment package. Or you could see some of those guys in the pharmaceutical business that want to get out. But you can't
I need you to put pharmaceutical in air quotes.
Yeah.
Street pharmaceuticals.
So I said, but if that's the investor, do not bring him to my office. I don't want to know the name. Don't tell me anything. So Damon hits me with the evil eye. He says, we'll be back. So a couple of weeks later, he said, we got the money. I said, was it from a store? He was like, not really. So anyway, I was getting a divorce. I had gotten my divorce settlement, and there were 4 other lawyers in my office. So I gave my practice to these lawyers just as they were launching Rockefeller. And Jay-Z still teases me. He says, you're the only woman that ever gave me a pink slip. I was like, yeah, but you left with the blueprint. And he did 2 albums called The Blueprint. But anyway, they left and they got a one-off deal because I told the lawyers, make sure it's a one-off deal. Because we knew that if we were successful with the first record, we were going to shop a joint venture. So anyway, another long story short, okay, the first record blows up. Damon comes back to me. He says, I know you don't represent us, but I got to hire you because we got this offer from Leora Cohen, and it's like nothing. And so I said, okay. So I went to Sony. So I signed on to represent them. I go to Sony to see, I'm an old friend of Tommy Mottola. By this time, Tommy is like the chairman of Sony. So I go in to see Tommy, and I'm like, oh, this Jay-Z. He's like, yeah. What else they got? So he falls in love with this group called Chris Young, which was a R&B group out of San Francisco.
A duo. I remember them.
Yeah, they were really good. They broke up, though, too soon. But that was who Tommy was like, I'll okay the joint venture. So he calls and says, sending Louise down, give her whatever she wants. I set up this incredible joint venture at Sony where they could buy their masters back or Sony could buy. That was like great. So Damon takes the deal to Leora. He matches the deal, except for the buyout clause. And I didn't want them to go to Def Jam, but Damon said, that's the culture, that's where we want to be. So they went to Def Jam, and the rest is kind of history. By the way, when they were setting up the first record, Damon was calling me, we're doing this, we're doing that. Well, to my mind, he was doing everything wrong, but I had an intern in my office who was brilliant with working with limited budgets. We had just blown up a very obscure R&B record, all the way up the charts with really very little funding. So Damon hired him immediately. He became the head of sales. There were 2 A&R guys, a guy named G. Roberson and another guy named Hip Hop. So they became the powerhouse that really powered Rockefeller up the charts as executives. Well, of course, they used to hang out in my office all the time. And they were like, we're quitting. We're quitting. We're sick of Damon. So I said, oh, no.
you're not quitting. What we're going to do is we're going to start another company, and we're going to lay in the cut until you guys find the right artist. When we find the right artist that everybody says we like, then we make our move. So, another long story short, because it's 1.5 years down the road, who walks through the door? Kanye West. So Kanye would be on these calls. Oh, I love it. West and West. I was like, right, Kanye, okay. But it was really Kanye and his mom. His mom was just an incredible woman who had her own PhD in education, who kind of, when he dropped out of college, she was like, I'm rolling with you, buddy, until you get yourself together. So it was really Kanye and his mom. And another long story short, we couldn't get Kanye a deal. So at the 11th hour, because Jay-Z and Damon didn't want to lose these executives because they were at the end of their joint venture, so they're waiting for the big payday. So they said, oh yeah, we'll sign him here. But we won't sign him directly. Now, because my clients, let's back up a minute, they were the A&R guys, they had gotten Kanye a song deal at Rockefeller. So he got on the Blueprint and a couple of other records. And anyway, so we used that to shop Kanye as an artist, but nobody really took him. We thought we had a deal at Capitol, and they wouldn't pull the trigger because they were waiting for this female executive to come in, another friend of mine. And I kept telling her, okay, the deal. She said, I got you. But then when she got there, she turned the deal down. So Damon and Jay-Z said, well, you could bring him here. Well, when they put their deal on the table, it was such a low deal, and Kanye and his mom said, well, he had to be signed to my client's production company because they said they weren't going to take him directly because they had dealt with Kanye before. So anyway, that's
You're saying he's a handful?
All of my dealings with Kanye, if I see him today, he's a lovely, lovely guy. I've never been in the studio with him or had to deal with him creatively. But anyway, we did the deal. The rest is history. And I was the lead attorney for the first 7 Kanye records at Def Jam.
Wonderful. Now, Otis, you're an athlete, basketball star, track star. Which came first? This is a chicken or egg question, I guess. Which came first for you, the passion for athletics or the passion for being in the entertainment industry? Which did you discover first? And why did you, through all this, how have you married the two? This is a multi-level question. How have you married or merged the two? And how did you discover your passion?
Actually, it's kind of funny. I thought athletics came first until I went back into my childhood. Mm-hmm. Just listening to Mr. Townsend talk. My childhood was real rough, growing up in Youngstown, Ohio. The youngest of 4 boys. And I had a speech impediment. I couldn't talk until I was 11. So I had no clue that at that time, television was my teacher. Because I couldn't talk. And everyone always made fun of me. I was the kid always laughed at. The kid who was told he couldn't do anything. The kid who was told he wasn't good enough. So I always got this little black and white TV. I'll put it in the closet. And I would sit down and I'll just stutter the words, time for the movies, folks. And I would just sit there in front of the television and veg out. And then my dad went to prison when I was 7. And my mom moved us from Youngstown to Toronto. And in Toronto, I was not only the kid who stuttered, I was the only black kid in the school now. I mean, only black kid in the school now. And I got involved in sports, and sports changed my life around. So basketball and track became my saving grace, even though I was told I wasn't good enough at that as well. I remember when we first moved to Toronto, I walked into the gym, a black kid in this gym with all these white kids, and the coach looked at me, and I walk in for basketball tryouts, and he was like, okay, we got somebody. And by the end of the trials, he said, you suck. Because I did. I was not good. And I went home and I told my mom, I was like, man, I was crying. She was like, what's wrong? I said, man, this coach told me I sucked. She said, well, did you? I said, well, yeah, but he shouldn't say it, because that's the thing. Sometimes you need the real, the truth. So for a year, I circled the tryout for my 7th grade on the calendar, and for a full year, I played basketball every single day, rain, sleet, or snow. I played every single day. And we didn't have inside. I had to play outside. So I had to take a shovel with me, and I had to shovel off the snow. My brother was here earlier. He'd tell you, because he was one of the ones who used to make fun of me. But so for the next year come around, I walk into the gym, and the coach throws his hands up like, oh, my God, here we go again. But by the end of the practice, I was the best player in the gym. And years later, they put a sign that says home of Otis Winston, nice. Ohio State basketball and track athlete. So I say all that to say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Because the beginning of my life was hard. I learned how to fight from the beginning. Same as an actor now. They told me I could not be a full-time actor living in Columbus, Ohio. Because I needed to be in LA, I needed to be in Atlanta. I needed to do all these things. And the way God worked things full circle, this man sitting to the left of me was the first man to do an interview on me. He was the first man to do an interview on me when I was an extra on a movie called Oz the Great and Powerful. And I went from being an extra to having speaking lines, and something tragic happened. And John did a piece on me called Tragic to Triumph. And now here we are, 10 years later. I'm in Atlanta filming a movie with Pierce Brosnan. I just got done, the movie I was in called Venom, Let There Be Carnage, is the #1 movie in the world. But they told me I could not do it. They told me I wasn't good enough. So when you say what came first, I think entertainment came first because it saved me when I didn't know myself. But basketball gave me the discipline to be able to go through the mud to climb my mountain to get to where I'm at.
Thank you. Now, John, your journey in and through the entertainment industry is unique to your life experience and kind of different from what we see all the time from other people. And I know some of the young men are looking at that like, this dude looks so familiar. I've seen he's come across my social media feed or something. I know this dude from somewhere. And so talk a little bit about your journey and your ability to like settle into this unique space that not a lot of people have the opportunity to live in.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm finding that so many of us have the rough beginnings. Like, I had a great mother, but I had a stepfather from hell. And so television was escapism for me. And I was a latchkey kid, daytime talk shows with my babysitters. So like, if I ever meet Ricky Lake, I'm like, hey, babysitter, because her and Oprah and Montel, like they used to watch me after school, but I knew early on that I wanted to work in the entertainment business. I had visions of myself traveling and working in television and doing the various aspects of the entertainment business, which means that, you're never too young to figure out exactly what you want in this business. And I started dreaming about the business even before I knew how to put a pathway in place to even work towards the business. In high school, there was a show on TV called A Different World. And A Different World made me want to go to a historically black college. And so I went and did a summer program as a high school student down at Norfolk State and Norfolk, Virginia, because I wanted to have my Different World experience. Fell in love with Norfolk State, ended up enrolling there to go to college. And while I was in school, I started getting so much professional work that I left school early to start working in the entertainment business. Now, initially, I thought my journey would be like Ricky Lake's. Like, I would go and some TV executive would discover me and be like, you're the next youngest person to ever have a talk show. It didn't work out like that. But I had a professor that said, you're a really good writer. You should write on the side. And at the time, the whole .com boom, and I know you remember this well, all those urban entertainment sites and all those digital platforms and stuff were taking off. And I was able to create an online newsletter and make a name for myself. And it was crazy because like in the middle of the night, so, you know, this is back when us folks that are like right in the in between Gen X and Millennial, those that are like those hybrid humans, that's what we are. We used to use a service called AOL to email. There used to be this thing called instant so before we were sliding in DMs, we were instant messaging each other on AOL. And so celebrities would start like instant messaging me like, yo, I just want to be your friend. And it was the strangest thing because I started becoming friends and having dinners with and building relationships with people that I was fans of, that I had bought their albums or watched them on television. And that taught me one of the greatest lessons in the early phases of my career, that relationship can take you further than your skills ever will.
Amen.
There are so many talented people sitting on the sidelines trying to figure out how to break through in the business. But sometimes if you can just network and build authentic relationship with people, and not relationship like, can you put me on, but relationship because I like you because you're a good human. And if there's a situation that works where you can put me on, then let's do it because we have a mutual respect for each other. And so those relationships really worked for me early on. So I started an online newsletter. I became really popular. I would ultimately end up working at AOL. They had a division called Black Voices. And before folks were blogging, they used to have these things called columns. And I wrote a weekly column that was one of their most successful franchises, where I wrote about Otis. And during that time, I was still very, very young. Like, I got a leap start in the business. I was 19 when I started. But at about 25 years old, I got approached to join the Tom Joyner Morning Show. And, you know, Tom Joyner's Morning Show was the first nationally syndicated morning show geared towards black people. You know, my mama used to quote it like it was church. You know what Tom Joyner said, and Tavis said we shouldn't be consuming those products. And so I had professors that would talk about the show. So to be 25 years old, you join this radio institution. And so I had the best of both worlds for 2 years. I had this writing column. I was on the radio. I was doing like 100,000 frequent flyer miles a year. I was living a rock star media life. And then sometime in 2011, I was burnt out. I was in like my early 30s. I was exhausted, and I felt unfulfilled because I really got into the business because I wanted to work in television. And while my backup plan had created a real blessing for me, and I had made a whole lot of money, I wanted to put a pathway in place to get to television. So I took a year off, 2012. It was my gap year. You know, sometimes if you grew up in a privileged household, you could take a gap year before you go to college. I'm gonna take a gap year and go put a backpack on and go see Europe. We don't get those privileges. At least my household did.
Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, so I lived off my savings for all of 2012, put a plan in place, and started doing some cable news. And because I was so well versed in all of entertainment, but particularly knew how to, you know, focus in on black entertainment, I became a go-to guy. And so when folks like Amy Winehouse and Whitney Houston died, I was a fixture on CNN and MSNBC and HLN and a bunch of international channels, and that really kind of thrust my TV career. Cable news then took me to the daytime talk shows, and I went in and started doing regular appearances on the Wendy Williams show, and I got to guest co-host The View, and had made a lot of milestones without representation. I got a call one day out of the blue from Usher's mom, who said, "I love your work, and I want to represent you." And so she started helping me with my TV journey. She started setting up meetings for me and making it easier for me to break through in the TV space. And after like 2 days after I guess co-hosted The View, I finally signed with my first talent agent. And that opened up so many doors for me. I started hosting series for NFL Network and Travel Channel and Epics, and just really carving out a space for myself in TV. You know, you land these holding deals where you shoot a pilot. A pilot is like a mock show that somebody takes out and then tries to sell it. And so like for 3 years in a row, 2016, 17, 18, I had these network deals for shows that they just couldn't sell. And And it's been an interesting journey. I will say that the TV part of my career has probably been the toughest, yet the most fulfilling, because my phase one came early. The writing, I created my own space. Radio, they came after me. TV has been the hardest part of my journey because it's the first time in my career that my success is predicated on white executives seeing the value in me. And because we don't have a lot of ownership in the business, because there are limited spaces where we have the power to greenlight and create projects and opportunities for ourselves, if you look on TV, you probably see the same 5 or 6 black men hosting. And I'm not talking about like news, but like you see Michael Strahan, you see Anthony Anderson, you see Terry Crews. Like they're the same recycled men that are hosting. And now the new trend in the business, this could benefit you, but they like the football players and not necessarily the basketball stars. But, you know, all the NFL players are getting all the jobs in the TV business. So, like, there's this trend where, you know, if you carry the football on Sunday mornings or on Monday nights, it's easy for you to get hired. But in between the inconsistency of the TV world, one of my greatest blessings is doing things like this, event hostings, and being able to connect with people and using parts of my story and my journey to inspire, motivate, and really connect with people on a personal level.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Round of applause for our panelists before we get into the quick Q&A. Here's how this is gonna work. We've got about 5 minutes. So we'll do something called 5, 5, or 5, meaning we'll take about 5 minutes to take about 5 questions if we have time, or we can sit up here for 5 seconds of awkward silence where y'all just look at us like we're idiots, right? I hope that doesn't happen. My mom always said, closed mouths don't get fed, right? So if you have a question, open your mouth and be fed, because the wisdom is here to be shared with you. So in the back, yes, please stand and introduce yourself and ask your question.
My name is Steven. Are you guys rich?
Are you rich?
Rich is subjective, meaning that I am rich in
Spirit, I am rich in determination, and I don't have security with me, so I'm not going to tell you how rich my bank account is. But if I had to tell you who had the most money up here on this panel right now, I'm going to lean in that person's direction.
We don't want to point no elbows, right?
No, I'm not rich. I enjoy my work. My clients pay me well. I have great relationships. You know, when you talk about Rockefeller, all those little guys that were sitting in my office are still doing something at Rock Nation, and they're all doing well. So whenever I call them, I'm like, I need whatever you need, you know. So, no, I'm not wealthy money-wise, but I am wealthy with connections. That whatever I need something for a client, I can call somebody, and they're like, sure, you know. So I try not to overuse it, you know, so they're, oh, here she comes again. But I think wealth is more in having great relationships than what's in your bank account. No, I'm not wealthy in that context.
Here's what I'll say, like, we get tricked into believing, especially in pop culture, money makes you happy, and you all can speak to and attest to this. And you all know, scroll through your social media, you know a whole lot of miserable millionaires, right? People who have a whole lot of money and a whole lot of misery to go along with it. So don't always equate financial wealth with peace and happiness, because they're not one and the same, and one doesn't create the other.
Because if you love what you do for a living, you do it for free.
That's wealth.
You prefer to be paid, but if you love what you do, and most times when you start out working in your passion, you have to do it for free until you can get paid.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of people said to me, why do you stick with these little Rockefeller guys? I said, because they want to learn.
Right.
And they're the students. I was more the coach, and they were out running the plays on the street. Then, you know, sometimes the play would work.
Yes.
90% of the times the play didn't work. And, you know, it's like I stuck with them because they wanted to learn and they were great students.
My man.
Millionaire Morgan of E3 Sports Broadcasting. I wanted to ask about the transition of social media, especially when it comes to television, how you can transition from that as you see the rise of streaming services and social media kind of kicking out cable and regular daytime talk shows.
Yeah. Let me tell you, one of the best things that happened for me was that I leaned into social media earlier. So like when I started in the business, I didn't start as like a traditional writer. I started as a digital writer. And at the time, it was not popular. A lot of the media organizations used to be very dismissive of us. And it's so funny when all the newspaper people, when the newspapers started closing, they all started getting digital jobs, so I became really cool. You were ahead of the curve. But I leaned into social media earlier. I supplement my income with social media. Social media provides work for me. I do content specifically for social media. And so I don't believe traditional television will ever go away. I think there's an audience for that. Just like when satellite radio started, everyone said it was going to kill regular radio. I think we are living in a time in the business where all of this stuff is like a big pot of gumbo and it'll work together. You just have to find out what part of the business works best for you.
Last question.
So, you're playing as Venom?
Yes. My character is Donald the Street Man, actually. If you haven't seen it, it's a very good film. I was in Venom 1, and I also did Venom 2 as well.
All right, we'll give y'all 30 seconds. My last question is like, what is the one thing that you may have done different from other folks that were on the journey, that are on the same journey or a similar journey? What's one thing you think you did a little bit different that gave you an edge? And if you can answer it in 20 to 30 seconds, that would be amazing. I'd be impressed. But like one thing you think you might have done a little bit different that gave you an edge or created an opportunity for you to have the life that you have and do what you do.
Well, I went to New York to work for IBM. I had a job with IBM, and I decided not to take it and go into entertainment law.
Okay, so you took a risk.
I took a big risk.
Okay,
yes.
so taking risk gives you an edge. Oh?
Growing where you're planted. You know, I grew here. They said I needed to go to LA, I need to go to Atlanta, I need to go to New York. I made my platform here. You know, you got to make something, make them want you. You know, I always said I want to bring Hollywood to Columbus. So the way I decided to do that is to make myself marketable here. You know, I'm a big fish here. I've never worked in Ohio, but I've worked everywhere else.
Thank you, thank you.
Mine was a combination of things. First and foremost, I outworked all of my friends. I had a circle of friends that were more talented than me. They could sing, they could write, they were musicians, but I could talk real good. And my talking allowed me to be able to connect with people, which was the other component of my success, which was building relationships with people. I like people. Naturally, I'm a bit of an introvert. People don't think that when they see you on TV and when they see you on stage and stuff like that, but I've had to practice how to be more of an extrovert. But I like building with people. Like, I'm not a clubber, but I love going to dinner and having smart conversation with people. And so I love building relationships. Relationships have taken me so far in this business. And then lastly, I've always worked with integrity. I just told, so last week, my best friend Sherry Shepard was filling in on the Wendy Williams show. And so Sherry and I are producing partners. We work on projects together. And anytime she does TV, separate from that, she hires me to come in and produce her personally, to write her material, to coach her through the topics, to make sure that she can be her best self. And there was a little issue with the producer on the show that had done something very Karen-ish. And I had to tell her that I didn't appreciate her actions and the fact that she had told an untruth on me. because while I may not have the biggest name in the business, I have a good name. And so I've worked really hard to maintain a good name and to work with integrity. And integrity, so many people want it so bad that they will rob, steal, cheat, and sell their firstborn to get it. And I'd rather be the tortoise and not the hare, and have the long game give me the success that I want in this business, and a reputation that when I walk in the room, people respect me because I do good work, and I'm gonna be honest to you along the way.
Nice, nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One of the things, last night, one of the things I hope you heard in what each and every one of them said is that it required connection to others, right? Understand this, there's no such, this is the gospel of Javier, take it for what you want. There's no such thing as a self-made man or woman. We hear that in our culture a lot. I'm self-made, self-made. To me, anybody who says they're self-made is either lying, forgetful, or inconsiderate, right? We have, especially as black and brown people, we have to work together and stay connected to see one another, help one another rise. Don't try to do it alone. MBK exists so you don't have to feel like you are alone on this journey. You are not alone on your journey. We're here to support you. We're here to cheer you on. We're here to guide you and celebrate your successes that you will continue to have from this moment on. So thank you all for being here today. Let's thank our panelists one more time, Otis Winston, Louise West, and John Murray for being here. At this point, we are going to transition right into our next panel. Okay, they're going to come off the stage, and our next panel is going to come on the stage. And our next moderator, because I don't think it's me. Oh, there we go.
Oh, for sure. Hey, can y'all give Javier another round of applause? Wasn't he a great moderator? All right, y'all still with us? Y'all feeling good? Everybody awake? You gotta talk back. Tap your friend next to you. I saw you wave, but you leaning too much. You're gonna go into you're gonna snore under your mask in a minute. You gotta sit up. You don't wanna sit up? I'm giving you a hard time. I'm just trying to help you. There you go. My God. Can I get a fist back? Yeah, there we go. Everybody stretch. Come on, stretch. They got the good, seduction lights in here and stuff. So I know it's ambiance, it's making you feel a vibe, but are you learning something? You getting a takeaway? People pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for this type of access and information. And today you're getting it for free. So lean into it, all right? All right? And so everybody stretched and feeling good. If you can get repositioned back in your seats, we're going to start our panel back up.
Name, image, and likeness is, it's really your intellectual property, if you will. We all own our own name, our image, and our likeness. So what is that, right? So your name is obviously your name. Your image would be like a picture. If somebody had a picture of any one of us, of you, that's your image. And then your likeness would be some type of graphic representation of who you are. So for me, I've got a mole on my cheek, a goatee, right, gray hair. So, if somebody sketched that out, right, you could say, oh, I know who that is, right? From a graphic representation, that's your likeness. So name, image, and likeness, everyone owns their rights to their name, image, and likeness. But up until July 1st of this year, student athletes at the college level were not able to monetize or commercialize or make money off of their name, image, and likeness.
All right, here we go. This is where the world of sports and business cross. We've got a great trio of gentlemen here today, and so we're going to have Luke. I'm going to have you introduce yourself to the people.
Sure. How's everybody doing? We good? All right, cool. Let's go. Come on. I know it's the last. I think is this the last panel of the day?
Last panel of the
Hey,
day.
come on. So we're gonna turn up, all right? Let's go. So, good morning. I've got a lot of energy, if you can't tell. I know the people on the microphones are like, "Oh my God, stop screaming into the microphone." So sorry about that. So my name is Luke Fedlam. I am a non-agent sports attorney. So I work with individual professional athletes across all sports: NBA, NFL, WNBA, hockey, soccer, etc. All across the country, and then. I'm a partner at a large law firm. I lead our sports law practice. We've got offices in 8 cities. And then the other hat that I wear is on education. So we work with NFL teams, with college athletic departments all across the country to help educate them on life skills, right? Players at the pro level, players at the college level, so that they can maximize all the opportunities that they have in life. And I'm very excited to be here with y'all today.
Good stuff. Neil.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? You all right? Yeah, I'm an Ohio kid, so can I get a O-H-I-O? Nah, I need it one more time. I need to run it back. O-H-I-O. Hey, it's good. It's good to be home. It's good to be in Columbus. Thank you all for coming out. Neil Hegde, I'm the Director of Player Engagement and Business Development at the National Basketball Players Association, so the NBA Players Association. I work on sourcing and evaluating new business opportunities for all 450 NBA players. And then I not only get to do that, but I get to work with the guys and their business teams to bring them in and to participate on these partnerships with all of these great different brands. And so really, really excited to be here today and kick it with y'all.
Thank you. Daniel.
Yes, my name is Daniel Van Noorden. How's everybody doing today? Good. Hey, listen, we're going to make this exciting. This is going to be a good time for you all to just take in. So I'll just encourage you all to lean in. But Daniel Van Noorden, Senior Manager of Football Development at the National Football League. My goal is really to just grow the game. So how many football players do we have in the room? Perfect. Okay. So my role is working day in, day out to make sure that you all have a phenomenal experience, right, playing the game of football. So whether it be at the youth level, at the high school level, and even in college, we work to provide resources, education, and just, phenomenal platforms for you all to continue to play and enjoy the game. And hopefully if you have an opportunity to play in high school and college, great. We want to make sure you have the best opportunity to maximize those experiences. And actually, if you get the chance to play in the NFL, we want to make sure that you are prepared and you're ready to do that. So a lot of the work we do is just focusing on those athletes from the youth level all the way through college, making sure that they're educated, prepared, and maximizing their resources to be the best they can be on and off the field.
Very good stuff. Now, there are a lot of folks here who love sports, and there's some athletes here, but we know that the likelihood of people going pro, it really is a small margin. You three are great examples of how you could take the love of sports, and there are so many other aspects of working in professional sports without actually playing sport. Can you talk about the importance of making sure young black people who love sport understand that there's so many variables entering into the world where you could maximize other talents while also being connected to your passion? Start with Luke.
Yes, absolutely. So, I've played basketball my whole life. I still try to hoop, out there. I was never going to play in the NBA. Like, I was very clear. Like, I would take all those half-court shots and three-pointer at the buzzer. Listen, I knew I wasn't going to play in the NBA. I had a pretty good jump shot, though. But what's great about what we get to do, each one of us, every single day, is we get to work with professional teams, players, right, at the college level, at the high school level. We get to be around sports, right? We get to be involved in the business side of sports. We get to be, engaged in decisions that are being made that affect athletes, that affect teams, etc. So the opportunity, especially as black and brown people, is to, yes, if you play sports, and there was one young man that when they asked if anybody plays football, he raised his hand like this, like, no, I want you to see me. Yes, you with the NFL, guess what? I do play football, right? I like that. So, but we have the opportunity not just to, yep, you know I was talking about you, not just play our sport, right? But we also get to be able to, think about how do we develop. If you think about anything that you love to do, like outside of sports, anything that you love, you could probably do that in sports, right? We just having a conversation, backstage earlier about esports and video games, right? The NFL, the NBA, each of their teams, they have their own esports teams. There are leagues for esports, for video games. So whatever it is that you love, even outside of sports, if you're not going to perform on the field, you can still find a place for that in the business of sports.
Yeah, I think to
to piggyback off of what Luke said, I think there are tons of opportunities in the business of sports, right? It's this entire world, and being a professional athlete, it's just one part of that world. I got a quick question. Are there any hoopers out there, anybody that play basketball? Me too. How many of y'all want to go to the league? Only 2. That's what's up. Well, listen, don't let anybody tell you that you can't make it, right? You got to shoot that shot. And if you want to get to the league, put the work in to do so. That being said, if you don't make it, perfect example right here, I would have loved to make it, but I didn't. I shot for the stars, and I fell on the moon, and now I'm able to take everything I learned on that journey and do what I love. And what makes me great at what I do is not only do I understand all of the technical and business sides of the things that I work on, but I love and breathe the game. And if you do that, there will be a space for you in sports as well.
And just to add on to that, I would just say so many opportunities, right? I played football at the highest level. I played at Temple University, and my career got cut short through injury. So I think at some point, right, in life, the air is going to come out of the football. If it's football, if it's basketball, you're going to have to transition. You're going to have to kind of move on to the next, phase in your life and what's next. And I think it's great that you're hearing about all these opportunities in the business of sports, right? So like Luke was saying, if you're creative, right, you want to build, you create designs and you're artists. If you want to learn how to, about partnerships and marketing, there's opportunities that you would have never imagined, but they're all there, it's all possible. So whatever you're passionate about, whatever your dreams are, like Luke said, there's opportunity in the business of sports, and it's growing. I think even with data, I mean, you look at data where it's going, you all are right in the middle of it, right? I remember times where I was going to the library to pick up books and doing things, but now you can do it on your cell phone, you can do it on your laptop. Like you are in this generation where technology is booming, so you have a huge opportunity to take advantage of that and allow that to open up doors for you in the career in the sports business.
Can I add one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
Because I want to make sure, too, we're talking a lot about basketball and football, right? But it's any sport. So there is a business around every sport that exists. So if you play tennis, if you play hockey, if you're into fencing, whatever it is, there are associations around this where there is business available, work that you can do, outside of just the basketball and football that you're going to hear a lot from us. But like any sport that you're interested in, there is a lot going on around that.
Daniel, what's the most rewarding part of the work that you do?
It's really opportunities like this when you can build a program that changes the lives of young men and young women across the country. One opportunity, if I can just share, is we actually work with the Boys and Girls Club of America. So I know a lot of you are probably familiar with that in your hometowns, in your communities, but we were able to actually build out a flag football program where it impacted over 200,000 participants over the course of 2 years, right? It educated over 2,000 teens in officiating, right? So it gave them an opportunity to learn and develop that skill set where they could actually go out and become officials for flag football leagues, in their communities and in their neighborhoods, So opportunities where you really can take a program or experience and change somebody's life is incredible. We talk about things that we do at the Super Bowl. We invite youth and high school participants out there. One program, we actually had high school kids come out on the field, on the Super Bowl field. So you talk about folks who maybe never had that experience ever before, giving that life-changing experience, saying that, hey, this is something that is a difference, and you can see the smile that it makes on their life. And you can see that it's really changed their life. So I'd say that's something that's been really beneficial, is using my platform to change the lives of others by serving and giving them opportunities to grow and develop in their careers.
Neil, most rewarding part of the work you're doing?
Man, I think just waking up every morning and not feeling like I'm a part of a job, right? I'm genuinely living my life, and in some way, shape, or form, I've been blessed to do what I love on a daily basis, and it never feels like work. Even when during times like last night, I'm getting emails about players at 11 p.m. while I'm trying to put my daughter to sleep, like that doesn't feel like work to me. That is just a part of my life. And as somebody who, from a career perspective, wasn't always in sports, I understand how blessed I am to be able to do that at this stage in life. And so I think that the best part of this entire experience, I'm sure for the three of us, is just being able to come here and give back to everyone that's going to pave the way after.
Luke.
Sure. So a quick aside, I'll just say, it's always great to be on these panels. It's rewarding, right? When you get to be on panels with people that you know from the industry. And so somebody mentioned earlier on the earlier panel, right, talking about connections and building relationships, right? Like we all have known each other, and yet we all come from different places, come together to be with you in this moment today. So always build those relationships. But the most rewarding thing for me in my work is being able to change the lives of athletes, right? At all levels, right? Whatever that level is, high school, college, pro, and retired, being able to change lives. And the way I do that is through education. I've been fortunate enough to have great experiences and working with athletes and working in the sports space. So on Monday, I'm presenting to the LA Rams. This past Monday, earlier this week, I was with the Las Vegas Raiders out in Vegas. On Thursday of next week, I'm with 6 different sports teams here at Ohio State, right? I get to be able to be in the room to help them understand, how do I navigate this new world that I'm in, or how do I navigate this business that's happening around me? And so to be able to have those conversations and see that, like, oh, I never thought about that. Because guess what? Pro athletes, right? As much as we look up to them, they're still just people, right? They're just people that have some of the same issues that we face. And so to be able to help them navigate some of those issues, to me, absolutely the most rewarding.
I want y'all to start thinking about your questions because we're going to get you real quickly. But before we do that, the management complexion in all professional leagues is starting to change. We're starting to see more people of color, men of color, grow higher in the corporate office and all of the sports, professional sports leagues. As men working behind the scenes in your capacities, how's that impacted you, seeing that there are folks that look like you sitting in the C-suite of these leagues? Luke, we'll start with you.
I love it. I absolutely love it because it's relationship, it's bond building, it's a comfort level, it's a I belong. Got in a conversation, I don't want to go too deep on this, but a conversation yesterday about this whole idea of imposter syndrome, right? Which is this idea that oftentimes, black and brown people might feel like they don't belong in the position that they're in, right? But then you see, black and brown people in the C-suite, in the, executive ranks of pro and, pro teams, college leadership and athletic departments, and you say, you know what? We do belong. We belong here. And I'll say this, when Anil asked the question, how many people play basketball? A bunch of people raise their hand. How many people might go to the league or want to go to the league? Only a couple raise their hand. Guess what? Everybody that raised their hand, just generally that play, you could one day be a team owner. You might say, you know what? I'm not going to be able to actually go out there and play on the court at the NBA level maybe. But you know what? I sure can own that team. And so to be able to see, ownerships, starting to change a little bit, it's just encouraging and exciting.
I think it's special, and to echo everything that Luke just said, it's encouraging, it's exciting, and it gives us all a frame of reference, right? Like, it's always helpful when you look across the table and you see someone that you can relate to, and you can say, all right, I might not know that person's story or that person's journey, but just by them being in this room, that is inspiring me, and that's allowing me to push further. And I think it's not only important at the highest of high levels, I think, which is ownership, right? When you think about professional sports in many regards, but it trickles down, right? And to share a personal story, and I think why it's so special for me to even be up here, I remember at 25, when I was trying to figure out life, still trying to get into sports, I actually had a conversation with Luke. Believe it or not, I had coffee with Luke, had never met him, shot him an email through a mutual friend, and I said, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I'm doing. I didn't see within the Columbus community at that time that I was a part of a ton of individuals that looked like me working in sports. And he sat down and was gracious enough to spend 30 minutes of his time just giving me game, right? And that meant everything, because fast forward 5 years from now, like, that conversation helped me get to where I'm at today just by seeing somebody, again, that looked like me and that I was able to relate to, and that just gave me free game. I think that is just a super important piece. So it's not just about who's in the owner's box, but it's about the entire ecosystem as well.
I think experiences like this, right, where you can actually see, it's visual, right? You can see the three of us who actually work in this industry. I remember when I was in your shoes, right, going to experiences like this, sitting here and like seeing people that are like me, that grew up in neighborhoods like me, right, that are doing these things, that are working at these prominent organizations. Like, it actually gave me, like to say, that inspiration, the aspiration that I can do it too. And I think we're all living examples that if we can do it, you all can do it. And we're here providing you that knowledge, that wisdom, in order for you to do that, do those exact things, right? Because we want you all to be the next great leaders, the next great professionals in this industry, because we're going to need people to pass the torch to. I can't do this for 100 years, right? But I'm going to need you all, if you have interest in working in sports or business, to do it, right? We can pass it. We can give you all the information you need to be 10 times more successful than we have been. So I think that's something that is really encouraging, that I was in these shoes, I sat where you all sat and saw people who were actually doing the work that I wanted to do.
All right, we're going to take some questions, and nobody ask if they're rich. We're not asking that question anymore, okay?
Can I say one thing real
Yes.
quick? My man right there with your hand up. Yes, you. Yep. Come on down here. Come on down here. You can ask your question. But MBK gave me this little gift to give to somebody asking a question. And my man right here put his hand up. I think we maybe made 2 comments, and he was like this, like from the very beginning. So tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. And here's a $25 Amazon gift card.
My name is Steven.
Steven, where you from, Steven?
From Ohio.
Okay, cool. You got a question? Go ahead. Ask your question.
Did you ever get to play in the NFL?
Oh, man. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to. I got injured. So that's another thing, right? Sometimes unexpected things happen. Injuries happen. So I got injured, but I would have never imagined that I'd be here, right, today. But I'm happy that I am here because I'm still involved in the game. I'm still making an impact, and I can pass knowledge on to you, man. So if you have interest in playing, in high school and college, I get to serve you and make sure that you have all those opportunities to achieve your goals and your dreams.
Okay.
And you've been asking if people are rich all day. Now you're Amazon rich. You got that $25 gift card all the way in the back over there.
Hello, my name is James. I'm from the E3 Sports program. I was wondering, this coronavirus and this pandemic, how are you still going, waking up and doing what you love every day?
Man, that's a great question. It's, I'm sure just as it's been the case with you all, like it's been tough. Coronavirus it's been tough on everyone. But I think at least for me, being able to fall back on, again, doing something that I love, it's allowed me to wake up every day and to still find hope. And it's been amazing to see in our industry, right? Like games continue, fans continue to support. The business of sports, despite the pandemic, in many ways is stronger than it's ever been. And so, again, while it's been challenging, I think for all of us, being able to fall back on the fact that we truly get to work in a space that we love is something that keeps us motivated and going every single day, despite the challenges that the pandemic has presented.
I think the NBA and their bubble model was really inspiring for a lot of people on how, if you're really serious about getting your business back to work, create a safe space that will keep everybody healthy and keep the business moving. Absolutely. Anybody else want to take on how the pandemic impacted your work?
I'll just say real quick, because it's a great story of you never know what life is going to deal you, right? You never know the situation you're going to find yourselves in. Nobody expected that we were going to have a global pandemic and that it would shut business down and different things down, right? So in my world, it was interesting because prior to the pandemic, I was traveling everywhere. If I wanted to meet with somebody, I would travel to go see them. But now all of a sudden, this thing called Zoom, right? And I know almost everybody in here has probably been on one Zoom. If you haven't been on a Zoom over the last 18 months, raise your hand. You haven't been on a Zoom in school and nothing?
Hey, you're winning. You're
winning.
winning.
No doubt, man. That's what I'm talking
We're
about.
going to put you on Zoom today just to break you in.
Yeah, but all of a sudden now it's like, okay, I know this name, image, and likeness thing is coming. I have to get out there, right? But how do I do it differently? Boom, Zoom. So started doing, virtual presentations to teams and to individuals and things like that set me up so that now, once things start to open back up again, now we're in this place where I can go out and just present to people on name, image, and likeness, and they already know that I'm like a leader, a thought leader in that space. So you got to be able to improvise.
Daniel.
Same thing, just new ways, new innovative ways to do things, right? So I think a lot of people were so used to just in person, but the Zooms, the virtual engagement that we were able to do with different, partners and organizations and be creative in the space. So I think it's really sparked creative juices and allowed us to kind of do some new things in innovative ways.
You had a question?
Daniel, I was wondering, how did you get hurt?
So I'd say during my time at Temple was a couple injuries. So, and like I said, in life, you're going to be dealt, adversity. So first injury was partially torn ACL. I didn't have to get surgery for that. I just had to rehab. My last injury that really took a toll on me was my lateral meniscus. I tore it completely. So they had to surgically go in and repair it. So didn't really put me on a timeline where I was going to be able to play my last year. But like I said, I'm thankful for it because it allowed me to understand that football wasn't my identity. I think a lot of people think their sport is their identity. And I think, for me, it was a blessing that I had a chance to go through that, experience that, because it allowed me to really think about my next plan in life and where I was going to, end up virtually here today speaking to you all. So definitely blessed through that experience.
2 more questions, and we got to wrap this up. In the gray.
Hi, my name is Carla. It goes to all 3 of y'all. What advice would you give someone that is trying to achieve a dream or something, but just don't know what steps to take? Like, what advice would you give somebody?
So I would start off by saying, Daniel, is that your name? Colin.
Oh, sorry.
About that. So what I would say is, it's about relationships, right? And getting the exposure. So being at things like this, that's a great start, right? You get to kind of hear different people's perspectives on what they are doing and everything. But if you have a goal, one of the things that I tell people, how old are you? 14. So do you have access to the internet?
Perfect. So
listen, there's something called LinkedIn, right? Which is just this place where you can go and find people that are doing all different kinds of things, right? It's like you can have your resume on there. So you could be like, you know what? If my goal ultimately one day is to be, let's say, a general manager at an NBA team, right? Well, I want to go look up who are all the general managers right now, right? And then I want to go maybe on LinkedIn and see, how did they get there? What was their path? What did they do? What commonalities do they have, right? Did they do some of the same things? Like, did they all go to, I don't know, like college and then business school? Did they just go to college and then go do other things in the workplace? But the internet is such a powerful tool, and we keep it on our phones, right? So we have such access. So utilize that to try to figure out who are some people who have done that. And if I don't know them in my circle, if I don't know them in the world right now that I live in my community, then I'm going to go find them online. But through MBK and others, they can connect you to people that are doing some of the things maybe that you're looking to do.
Anybody else want to take that?
Yeah, I would say, again, leverage the tools that you have at your disposal, right? So the internet, relationships, amazing programs like MBK, right? Seek out guidance from people that you truly aspire to be. I think that's super important. And then lastly, again, identify where you're trying to go and then build a plan based off of the people that you think are great at those things. Study their entire playbook from before they got to where they're at all the way, to the beginning, and look at each step along the way and try to take key learnings from that. And that way, that'll help you formulate your own plan to get you where you want to go.
Let's add one more thing. I know Robert said this earlier, but it's so important. Write them down. Write down your goals and your dreams. I think a lot of people have an idea of what they want to do and how they want to do it, but they don't write them down, right? Write them down, make sure you stick to the plan, and you can go back like 2-3 years from now and say, hey, listen, I wrote this down that I wanted to work at, Google or Facebook. I wanted to work for a professional sports team. Write those goals down and keep doing it. It doesn't stop now, but just keep doing it throughout your entire life. And you'll see that as time progresses, you'll look back and say, hey, this is pretty remarkable.
There's a Will Smith story. He said when he wanted to transition from being a rapper and a sitcom star and become a movie star, him and his team sat down and looked at the 10 most successful films of all times. Then they wrote down all the characteristics that all those 10 films had, and then they went and sought out a project that had at least 6 of those characteristics, and that was Independence Day, and it changed the trajectory of his movie career and made him one of the biggest box office stars in the country. Blue sweatshirt right here.
I have a question. My name is Maxwell, and why did you choose your profession?
Why did you choose your profession? Or did your profession choose you? We'll start with you, Daniel.
That's great. I think throughout that transition, right, when I got injured, I was trying to find what I was passionate about. What did I want to do? I did want to coach. It was a lot of work. I didn't want to work towards my degree because it just wasn't something I was interested in. But I knew I was like, you know what? Athlete development is something that really sparked my interest. Like making sure that I can provide my wisdom, my knowledge through my experience, but also create new experiences that could help other people. So throughout that time, I looked at opportunities at Temple. I was able to serve as a graduate assistant in the athletic department, and then led to me becoming an intern with Major League Baseball, and then led to me being at the NFL. So really, I think it was just identifying athlete development and really focusing on how I could do that, opportunities, whether it be volunteering, whether it be internships, and then ultimately, the grind and desire to keep, improving and keep, getting better allowed me to, to step into opportunity with the NFL.
Yeah, I think you know, for me, as I mentioned, unlike Daniel and Luke, I didn't come from a background in sports. Basketball was always a passion for me. I had the opportunity to play at the club level while I attended school here, which was an amazing experience. I knew at that point that the NBA was never going to happen, but it had always been a dream of mine to work in professional sports, specifically in basketball. And so what I did after graduating here was, although I got turned down from a ton of jobs as I applied to try to break into sports, I said, all right, I know that time is going to one day get here. As I prepare and wait for that, what can I do to make myself a more valuable asset or a more valuable employee? And so what I did was I went and worked in finance. I worked in several different roles in banking, in consulting, in the credit card industry, where I was looking at deals that were like $300 to $400 million. And so what that allowed me to do was, when I finally got that one opportunity in sports that presented itself in 2018, I was able to shoot my shot. And that shot in 2018 was a much more accurate shot than what it would have been in 2012. And the reason why is, all those years leading up to when I got the opportunity with the Players Association, again, I was acquiring all these different skill sets, yet my passion for the sport was still there. I was still, as Daniel mentioned, doing different things connected to the business inside of the game of basketball. And so when I had that opportunity to interview, I was that much better and more prepared as a candidate. And that allowed me to not only land the job, but it allowed me to kind of accelerate once I got my foot in the door, because I knew when I stepped into the game, hey, I've done all of these different things that set me apart from my competition. And so I felt like I was a unique enough candidate to, now I'm in the game, like, this is the fun part. And so, you know, that's a little bit about my own story.
Luke. So I got into my profession because I saw a need. I mean, that really was it. I saw an opportunity. So I started off my career in finance, worked at an investment firm where they manage money and everything. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't grow up knowing about it, but they took a risk on me out of college and trained me and all that good stuff. But I got the opportunity to then work with athletes, with pro athletes on the financial side. And I really didn't care as much about managing their money. What I cared about was I just kept seeing them getting taken advantage of by people wanting them to do deals or put money into this. And I'm just like, nobody's out here like really protecting them, like really protecting athletes, right? And we hold them at this high pedestal, right? Again, because we see them on TV, they have this great celebrity status and all that kind of stuff, but they're getting taken advantage of, right? And there are documentaries, 30 for 30 Broke and others, of how athletes, right, have gone broke and been taken advantage of. And I was like, I want to change that. And we brought lawyers in as a financial advisor. We brought lawyers in to help these athletes with the challenges that they had. But, you know, the attorney, the lawyer, they didn't really understand the athlete. And a lot of times the athlete really didn't understand what the lawyer was saying. I was like, you know what? I think I could do this. I could be a lawyer that could explain things in a way, because I understand the athletes and the challenges that they face. I could explain it in a way that can protect them. So like Robert Townsend said earlier, right, sometimes you got to chart your own path. I felt like I charted my own path to be able to build this space in the legal world, right, where I get to work with athletes every single day to help educate them and to protect them. I saw a need, and I went after it.
Did y'all learn something good today? I need y'all to talk back to me. Did you learn something good today? Can y'all give these three gentlemen a game day-like applause? Act like we're at an NBA game. Come on, your team just won the finals. Come on. Listen, I'm glad to have facilitated this dialogue. Thank you to MBK for pulling this conversation together. And I'm going to Coach Joe now. Come on, y'all, give Coach Joe some love.
All right, so real quick, thanks, fellas. I appreciate your energy, appreciate your insight. We're going to go back to the big room, but I can't get your question just yet. We're going to go back to the big room. We're going to have a networking session led by Javier. Our good folks from Ohio State will be on hand with us. We're going to do a round-robin kind of interactive engagement. If y'all got time, y'all can jump in that pool too and be part of the networking as well, if you got time. Let's go. Next room, back to the big room. Let's roll. And lunch is in there too as well, yes. Grab something to eat. Lunch is there. Doc, good to see you, brother. You still with us?